favourites contending for this event. Then Vicente, the young Spaniard, a lot of eyes on her. Wonderful talent, reigning world and European youth champion. Next to her then Anouk Vetter, the Dutch athlete. Heptathlon best of 4.548 points. Good hurdler with a best of 8.25. Good consistent competitor across the range of events, as is the Hungarian Zsenia Krisan. Again has got a big best ever score of 4.631 points. And finally, Katrina Johnson-Thompson. Very successful season last year, starting with the Commonwealth Games gold medal, despite a slight injury, coming through to take silver behind Tiam in the European Outdoor Championships. Tiam passing this indoor season, so Johnson-Thompson is the favourite.
On your marks.
Fascinating to see how Ndama, the French athlete, gets off to a expected good start here. Big breakthrough with that 4.672 score, the leading performance in the world this year. So Ikanyetsi, Ndama, Vicente, Vetter, Krisan and Johnson-Thompson. Second race of the 60-metre hurdles.
Set.
Well, there we go. Set Ndama off well. So too Johnson-Thompson off well. And inside of the Dutch athlete Vetter. But here comes Ndama. Ndama takes it. Johnson-Thompson in second place. Ikanyetsi in third. And, well, 8.10 shown. It is indeed a new championship best in the pentathlon by 100th of a second, assuming that time is confirmed. In fact, it's confirmed as 8.09. The initial time comes up from the photo cell, and then we get the photo finish time. So 8.09, and I think Johnson-Thompson can be reasonably happy with her start as well. Just waiting for her time to come through. Well, there it is. And as I say, I think she can be reasonably happy, and those are converted to the points that they score as well when you look on the international scoring tables.
Once again, a whole host of season's best and personal bests.
As you can see, Ndama's a little bit down there, isn't she, Phil? But look at the way she finishes.
Yeah,
but she comes through really strongly off these final hurdles and opens up that what, two-plus metre gap.
Good run from Ikanyetsi as well.
Yeah.
Coming back after a long period out.
Well, rewarded with a personal best too there, by 100th of a second.
Just keeping an eye on Maria Vicente's time as well. I mean, she's only 17 years of age. There is a possibility she could challenge, if she can put all 5 events together, the world junior best. Very nice hurdling, very crisp hurdling from the French athlete.
And there is confirmation of the result. Ndama with 8.09 for 1,109 points. Johnson-Thompson 8.27, season's best. Then Ikanyetsi, personal best, 8.29, and a season's best for Vetter as well. With Vicente also, should be very pleased with her time, I think, of 8.36, only 100th of a second outside her personal best. So that means that after the first event, Ndama has 1,109 points, from Johnson-Thompson 1,068, and it's pretty close, obviously, at this early stage. And they'll, of course, have the rest of their 4 events throughout this first day of the championships.
So, well, we've been watching the pentathlon 60 metres hurdles races. The men's long jump qualifying still progresses, and this is Tomasz Jaszczuk of Poland. Jaszczuk, 4th 2 years ago in Belgrade at the European Indoors in the Serbian capital on that occasion. Good height from the pole. Has a best of 7.93 this year. Hasn't gone over 8 metres indoors, but he's quite consistent jumper at the big occasion. That looks like a nice tidy jump. Slightly for shortening effect there. Not at the angle that we've got, it's not easy to perhaps estimate the distance, but I'm sure it's around the 780 mark. He looked pleased as well. So, yes, 786, so I think he can be fairly confident that's going to be good enough to get him through, although obviously the automatic qualifying distance is 795. We're only going to lose 4 men from this qualifying competition. So good performance there from Jaszczuk. Next action on the track will be the men's 400 meters, round 1. We have the semi-finals of that event coming up tomorrow evening, and then the final on the final day. So 3 rounds of the men's 400 meters. Well, championship record 45.33 by the 3-time defending champion Pavel Maslak, who sadly is not here. He unfortunately got a bout of flu earlier this week and has decided not to travel. But there's the lineup for the first of 4 heats. Quite a strong heat. To pick out Luka Jaszczuk, who's 3rd on this year's European indoor rankings. A very good 22-year-old Cameron Chalmers is also in this field. There we have a quick look at Chalmers. Chalmers winning the UK title just a week or so ago. On his inside, the very good Slovenian Luka Jaszczuk. He's rattled off a number of good performances on the indoor tour. Teenage Frenchman Fabricio Saidi, 19 years of age, has improved to 46.87 this year. Quite a familiar figure of Limarvin Bonavacia. Has been a stalwart of Dutch 4x400 meter relay teams and their successes in recent years. Janis Laitis, now 29 years of age. The Latvian, not quite in his best form this year. On the inside, the youngest man in this field, Ricky Petrucciani. So 2 automatic qualifiers and then 4 more non-automatic qualifiers from these 4 heats to go through to the semi-finals.
On your marks.
So from the inside it's Petrucciani, Laitis, Bonavacia, Saidi, Jaszczuk and Chalmers. Favourites probably the 2 men on the outside, Jaszczuk and Chalmers.
Set.
Well, Chalmers away quickly, so too is Saidi, the Frenchman, in lane 4. Saidi at this stage running very, very quickly. Chalmers, nice controlled. Jaszczuk not showing so well at this stage. Also Laitis having a good run in lane 2, so Chalmers cutting across to take the lead at the bell on this 200-meter track. So far a clean race, no too much contact between the two. Chalmers leading the way with 100 metres to go. Saidi starting to just tire a little bit. Jaszczuk, his experience telling, getting up into 2nd place, but as we come into the home straight, it's still Cameron Chalmers from Great Britain. Saidi coming through on the inside though. Jaszczuk, Chalmers tiring very badly. Jaszczuk takes 1st place, and the young Frenchman, 19 years of age, Saidi, takes 2nd, and Chalmers will have to wait to see whether he goes through as the fastest non-automatic qualifier. So very astute race there from Luka Jaszczuk. Jaszczuk, multiple Slovenian champion, Slovenian record holder. 46.88 for Jaszczuk, and Saidi 46.99. Both men still having a little bit left in the tank. All went a bit horribly wrong though over the final 30 metres for Chalmers. As we look over the 2nd half of the race,
Well, it was disappointing for Chalmers. He looked to be good at this stage. He'd done it all right, but he faded too badly. And full marks to the Frenchman for holding that inside and coming through. Chalmers might make it on times, but of course, if he does, he will get a poor lane draw as one of the slower athletes here. But Janusik uses experience very nicely.
Yes, Janusik, very experienced international competitor. And whilst the overwhelming favourite has to be Carsten Warholm, who comes up in the 4th heat, Janusik, I think, has come here with ambitions of getting on the podium. Confirmation there of the times. Luka Janusik winning in 46.88. Fabrizio Saidi 46.99. Cameron Chalmers, we'll have to wait and see whether he gets through with that time of 47.18. Vaitis, Petrucciani and Bonavaccia completing the field. So we're switching back now to the men's long jump. Vladek Juška, again, has been a European indoor medalist in the past, the Czech. Again, bags up high, cleanly on the board. White flag confirming what you saw with your own eyes. Juška this year hasn't been quite in his top form. Has gone out to 7.89 this year, but at his best is a 8-metre plus jumper, both indoors and out. Just waiting. And taking a long time to put the mark up. There it is. 7.61. Well, it did look a bit further than that. That gives you an impression of the angle at which we're actually looking at the long jump. So now the former European under-20 record holder, Eusebio Caceres, now 28 years of age, seems to have been around for a very long time. Nice jump there from Caceres. We'll just get confirmation. Yes, white flag. Caceres has been jumping, one of the better jumpers in the field this year, 7.99. Jumped 8.16 a few years ago.
He put his hand back, in fact, which lost him a fair bit of ground there, because if you look at where his feet landed, it was probably, you know, in excess of it. But if you look on the right-hand side, there was where his hand went back.
Dropped his right elbow into the sand, didn't he? Just looking for a bit of advice and inspiration. Nevertheless, 7.76. So reasonable start. As always, 3 rounds in the qualifying competition. So still waiting to see the favourite, Militaris Tentoglu, the European outdoor champion and the very, very talented Greek. Will have his 21st birthday in a couple of weeks' time.
The second heat of the men's 400 metres, again 5 runners, the inside lane not being used. So we have Danilenko, Müller, Chan, Smith and Husilos. A lot of interest, I think, obviously, in Oscar Husilos. Hasn't been in such good form this year, but last year he was a terrific winner, in quotes, of the world indoor title, and he ran brilliantly in that, only to find out that he'd then be disqualified, in the first 2 disqualified,
leaving Maslak delighted to win. But he really did look good in that race. I mean, okay, he cut in from his lane a bit soon, but so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. This is Oscar Huselos then in the outside lane. Should be the favourite for that, but 46.37 this year is a fair bit slower than he was running last season. Owen Smith for Great Britain, making his debut in an individual event. He ran for Britain in the 4x4 relay in the World Indoors last year. This is Can of Turkey, who's 3 times the Balkan champion. Had his 3rd title just a couple of weeks ago in Istanbul. Turkish record holder. Vit Müller from the Czech Republic, best known as a 400-meter hurdler. Twice a semi-finalist in the European Championships outdoors. And Danilenko. He hasn't yet made a major championship final, but he's in the individual event, that is, but he was 5th in the relay 2 years ago in these European Indoor Championships. Reminder that once again it's the first 2 that go as of right into the semi-finals. Together another 4 on times from 4 heats in all. We had that winning time of 46.88 from Janisic in the first heat. Now we see how the athletes go in this, the second one. Danilenko of Ukraine, Müller, Czech Republic, Can of Turkey, Smith, Great Britain, and Huselos of Spain. There he is on the outside. So far, that first race shows the 4 men, but it's a little early days with 3 more heats to go. So certainly a strong start by Owen Smith of Great Britain, who's already up and indeed passed Huselos. Always important in indoor running to get that lead spot at the halfway stage, and Owen Smith bidding for that. Huselos now coming across behind him in 2nd place, and on the inside Müller from the Czech Republic. So it's a strong run by Owen Smith of Great Britain, and the crowd are certainly roaring him on. Huselos not looking so good perhaps as we saw last year, and Owen Smith may well hold on to this. Let's see whether we can just do that. Remember, just the first 2 who are sure to go through. Strong finish though, and he isn't overtaken, just on the line there. And 47.35, so a fair bit slower in fact. Maybe one can say that Huselos judged that nicely, because he certainly came through, and it's Huselos and Smith who will take their automatic places in the semi-final, but not such a quick time.
No, interestingly, we were talking about Huselos coming home in 1st place ostensibly 12 months ago at the World Indoor Championships in London. He was commenting, he was hoping that the same referees were not at these championships as last year. Started the year just looking at coming here for the relay, but it changed his mind a couple of weeks ago. Terrific run though from the Briton making his international debut, Owen Smith. Really gutsy run. Huselos just using his international experience over the final 50 metres or so just to come through. But as Peter was saying, significantly slower heat than the first race.
Yeah, I mean, Chalmers in 3rd place in that first race, 47.18, which is much quicker than any of these men. Danilenko taking 3rd here in 47.59. So the result confirmed as Huselos the winner in 47.34, from Smith 47.50. Danilenko 47.59. Probably not enough, I would think, to go through to the semis.
So back to the long jump. This is Tobias Nilsson Montler taking over the mantle of Swedish long jumping from Michel Tornéus. Montler, one of the better jumpers on current form. Well, nice jump there from Montler.
Yes, from what was superimposed on the screen there, one wonders whether that might be our first automatic qualifier.
Entirely possible, I think, yes. He had a no jump in the first round. We didn't see that. There was quite a lot of no jumps in the first round. Well, still a bit to spare on the board. Good 10 centimetres. Montler, former European under-23 medalist. 23 years of age now. Getting some advice there from his coach, Jannik Tregaro, very well-known Swedish jumps coach, who's coached many high jumpers, long jumpers, triple jumpers, including Christian Olsen. So 7.95. He gets an automatic qualifier. As we look now, the favourites. Well, Tentoglu also had a foul in the first round, the reigning European champion. See there the blue bib indicating he's the European leader. Jumped 8.23. That looks like he's... Oh, well, that was the first round foul. So, long jump, but that was a foul.
7.57 his best. He's just been pushed back to 9.
Ah, thank you very much. Here's the second round jump. We're catching up now. Well, as I was saying, he was very effective winner of the IAAF World Indoor Tour meeting in Madrid, where he bounded out to 8.23, and that, well, he was over 8 meters with his previous jump, and he's over 8 meters again with that. That's for sure, because of those superimposed lines. Head-on shot there. Not perhaps the quickest of long jumpers on the run-up, but he is very consistent with his technique and gets into the air very nicely. Former European under-20 champion. We're hoping he's going to go to the European under-23 championships this year in Gävle in Sweden. There we go. 8.01, and he goes to the top of the standings midway through the second round.
And I think we can say that confirms his status as the favourite here to add the indoor title to the outdoor one that he won.
I think there's a lot more to be seen as well from him. I wouldn't be surprised to see some bigger jumps as we now turn our attention to the track once more with the third heat of the first round of the men's 400 metres. Well, in the absence of the defending champion, Pavel Maslak, who's a very good Czech runner in lane 6. Jan Tessa, now 28 years of age. He's been doing well this year, running very, very close to his best at 46.26, and something like that might help him towards medal. Lucas Bua, finalist 2 years ago in Belgrade, the Spaniard. One of 3 very good Spaniards in this competition. Tony van Diepen, 22 years of age and has improved to 46.81 this year. Karol Zelowski, well, he's better known in some as a 200-meter runner, but running 400s more often these days. Killian Green, just 20 years of age, the Irishman. Perhaps one of the outsiders to go through. And Carl Bengtström. The fastest man by a long way on current form is on the outside, Jan Tessa.
On your marks.
On the inside, it's Bengtström, Sweden, Green, Ireland, Zelowski, Poland, Van Diepen, the Netherlands, Bua of Spain, Tessa of Czech Republic. Just to remind you, 2 to go through automatically, first 2 home, and then 4 non-automatic qualifiers will also go through to tomorrow night's semi-final.
Set.
Well, Bua at this stage running very, very quickly, closing down the gap on the man on his outside, Tessa of Czech Republic. Van Diepen also running well. Engström starting to get dropped at this stage, but now Boer cutting across to get pole position at the bell. 21.72 over the first 200 metres. And it's Boer. Oh, there's a tragedy there. It's Tessa who went down and took down Green as well. So 50 metres to go. It's Boer and Van Diepen and Zalowski. That's the 1-2-3 at the moment. Boer looking around. He can afford to just ease up. No, Van Diepen almost tripping up over Zalowski there on the run-in. Well, that was a rather messy race, but Lucas Boer avoided all the carnage and came home in 47.02. Did the right thing, got to the front at the 200-metre mark. Well, there's Jan Tessa. I'm sure he's bitterly disappointed. Came here with possibility of a medal. So it's revised to 47 seconds exactly for Lucas Boer. Tony Van Diepen 47.32, taking the second automatic qualifying. I'm sure we'll see a replay of the trip by Tessa. So Tessa, well, I don't think there's anyone else at fault really. He just runs up the back of Van Diepen, who manages to stay upright. Green can't get around Tessa and also goes to the ground. There's some pushing and shoving anyway before it all goes horribly wrong for Tessa. Lucas Boer staying well out of trouble at the front. I don't think anybody's got any scope for appeal there. Once again, though, Lucas Boer able to ease up over the final 20 to 30 metres and just come home. Tony Van Diepen, well, rather ragged running style, but he gets himself through to the semi-finals as the second automatic qualifier in that race.
Yeah, they were fastest of any of the heats at 200 metres, but they didn't quite maintain that pace with that 47 seconds winning time.
Well, Rade Juska from the Czech Republic. We saw him jump 7.61 in his first attempt. Looks a little bit better. Still not really hitting the big marks. We know that he's an 8-metre plus jumper at best. Seems to be straining just a little bit. Not the fluid running that we've seen in the past from Juska. So 15-centimetre improvement, 7.76, and he's in a qualifying position at the moment in 5th place. 8 men to go through. Just to bring you up to date, 8th position at the moment is 7.57 with Ferenc Sayers. Well, Lamont Marcel Jacobs, we were looking to him to jump very well. He has a best this year of 8.05. 2 no jumps so far. So this is his last attempt. No. Not what he wanted. Yes, well, he's finally got out of the pit, and a red flag. Well, Sergei Nikiforov, well, he's got a 7.86 from the first round. I think that's probably going to be more than good enough to get him through, but he's taking his 3rd attempt. Quick on the runway. Oh, lots of height. I think that's the best jump we've seen. Looks as though it's over 8 metres, so that would be a season's best for the man who Peter correctly described earlier as being very much a big-time competitor. Nikiforov always seems to get it right when it counts. Nice jumping there from the Ukrainian. Tall, rangy jumper. And indeed, Nikiforov at 8:03 takes the lead in this qualifying competition. He gets an automatic qualifier as well. So 3 men automatically qualified. So too from the men's third heat of the first round of the 400 meters. Lucas Boer of Spain, Tony van Diepen of the Netherlands. So Jan Tessa did get back up and jog around in just around about a minute and a half.
Takes us to the 4th and final heat of the 400 meters. And there is the lineup. Bar of Ireland, Butrym, Ukraine, Guijaro of Spain, Warholm of Norway, and Haydock Wilson of Britain. Well, our first chance to see one of the superstars of world athletics, let alone Norwegian, where he certainly is a star. One of their several stars, Karsten Warholm. He'll go in lane 5. So from the outside, we've got 19-year-old from Britain, Alex Haydock Wilson, who makes his senior international debut. Took a bronze medal on the World Junior Relay last year. And there is Karsten Warholm. Well, he's taken the Norwegian record down to 45.56 this year and is the very, very clear favourite for the title. The European and world 400-metre hurdles champion, but brilliant on the flat as well. Now we have the youngster from Spain, Manuel Guijaro, who's only 5th in their championships this year, although he did win that title the previous year. Then one of the most experienced competitors in the lineup, in fact the oldest in the lineup, no less than 11 Ukrainian titles, 4 of them indoors. This is Vitaly Butrym. The Irishman, Thomas Barr, another 400-metre hurdler, European bronze medalist at the hurdles. And a lot of the hurdlers, as we'll see both in the men's and the women's individual 400 metres, a lot of the hurdlers running on the flat on these indoor tracks. As a nice preparation for them for the outdoor season. As Warholm says, the World Championships are a long way away, and he's very happy to compete on the international stage at this time of the year in these European Championships. Well, he won a whole hatful of Norwegian age group titles at all sorts of different events over the years. And of course, if we go back to 2013, he was the World Youth Octathlon champion. He really is a super talent. Concentrating on the 400 hurdles is #1 event, but more than capable of winning this title. Let's see how he goes. Warholm here in lane 5. Barr, Butrym, Guijaro, Warholm and Haydock Wilson, and Warholm already off into his running. He's eaten up the stagger on the young Briton outside him. In the red, Guijaro of Spain is tucking in 2nd place, but surely at 200 metres it's going to be Warholm who leads. Butrym in 3rd. 21.89, nothing too special there, but Warholm has this race under control. In 2nd place for that vital spot, it's the young Spaniard, Guijaro, very much in single file here. Butrym in 3rd, Haydock Wilson in 4th, and the Irishman Barr back in 5th place as Warholm now comes in easily for the finish. Battle is on for 2nd place, and it's Butrym who takes it with the young Spaniard beaten out into 3rd. And a nice comfortable victory there for Karsten Warholm in 47.05.
Well, there's quite clear an awful lot more to come from Warholm. He was just looking so calm and confident there in that particular race. Not the fastest of the heats this morning, but he didn't need to go any faster, and he remains the overwhelming favourite for this title.
Well, Guijaro looks a bit worried, but in fact his time of 47.33 will be good enough to qualify him for the final with the next 4 fastest on times.
This from the bell, and Warholm staying well out of trouble, just gets himself to the front and eases around this Emirates Arena very comfortably, qualifying without any undue pressure. Well, on paper he's half a second faster than anybody else this season, more or less, and he remains the overwhelming favourite for Norway's first ever gold medal. Amazingly, looking at the statistics, I didn't realise that until yesterday that Norway have never ever won a European indoor gold medal.
And they could well win at least 2 with the great Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and we can call him the great now, despite his youth, taking part in the 1500 metres. We'll see him later today. Carsten Warholm, the winner of Heat 4 in 47.05 from Vitaly Buterin, 47.22, and the little Q indicates that Guijarro has also qualified for the semi-finals. Well, that completes the 400 metres. And Warholm looked terrific, but I have to say that the overall standard not particularly high in that event. One of the few events that one can say that, and there is a confirmation of the qualifiers. Janicic leading them at 46.88. It'll get more competitive, of course, as we come to the semi-finals. And the little Q's there, with Cameron Chalmers the fastest of those. 5th fastest overall, in fact, 3rd in that first heat. And those are the qualifiers. 47.50 or less going through.
So round 3 of the long jump, and this is Vladislav Mazur, the second of the Ukrainian long jumpers in this competition. Well, we've already seen Nikiforov go through with 8:03. Not as far. He had a best of 7:57 from the first round. Might be a slight improvement. See a palpable difference in terms of speed on the runner. Bit to spare on the board. So an improvement, 7.64. So at the moment he gets himself into a qualifying position for tomorrow's final. Still a few jumpers to go, including this man, Radek Juska, currently lying in 6th place. By my calculation, I think he's qualified. I don't think there's anybody else coming after him who can overtake him. 3 jumpers to go. Juska, though, takes another jump. Rather rueful look. Really decent effort, though. I think he's aware he's not jumping at his best. Quite a bit left on the board. So 1 centimetre improvement for Juska. Moves up to 5th place from 6th with that 7.77 mark. So Zahinia Jovanicic, currently in 9th place at the moment, 7.48 to his name. Has jumped 7.85 this year. Oh, that's a much better jump, though. Gets the white flag. That might well be good enough to get him into qualifying position. Nicely on the board. Just 6 centimetres to spare, as you can see from the camera. Yes, much better jump. 7.73 for the 25-year-old Serb. Not that far away from his best, indeed. It's 12 centimetres short of his best. So Amundhol Sjursen, 2 no jumps at the moment. I think that's the 3rd. I think, yes, red flag. So his interest in this competition comes to an end. And indeed, he's the very last jumper of the men's long jump qualifying. Can bring you up to date is that we've lost 2 of the people who were expecting to feature in the battle for the medals. Jean-Pierre Bertrand, the Frenchman, we saw him injured earlier and he's passed his subsequent 2 jumps. Clearly suffering from something like a slight groin injury, and also Lamont Marcel Jacobs. Both Bertrand and Jacobs having jumped over 8 meters this year. Well, Jacobs had 3 no jumps. We didn't see the 3rd no jump. But there's the man who leads the qualifying competition, Sergei Nikiforov. So there's the 8 qualifiers, 3 automatic qualifiers: Nikiforov, Tentoglu, Nilsson and Montclair, and then after that 7.64 being sufficient to go through. So reasonable standard competition, more or less what we were expecting, about 3 automatic qualifiers.
Well, now the pentathlon, we move on to the high jump. That's what happened after the hurdles. And Dama the fastest there with a championship best for the hurdles, scoring her 11.09 points. 40-point lead over Katrina Johnson-Thompson, then Nika Nietze, Veta, Vicenti, Reiner. Our first 6 of the 13 competitors in the women's pentathlon. They will now be attempting the high jump. An event in which the standards vary quite a lot, from personal bests indoors of 174 up to 197. And there's the next page from the standings. And there may well be some considerable changes when we come up to the high jump. They'll be jumping in 2 pools, side by side. So Group A, which has the top jumpers, Vicenti, Emerson, Kluchinova, Dadic. Now Johnson-Thompson has a high jump best of 197, personal best, 193. You can see on the right there this year, and Shuk. That's the 6 competitors in the Group A. And then Group B, which is competitors, personal best a little lower than that, from 174 upwards. Krisan, Ika Nietze, Prena, Ndama, Maudens and Veta. So Ndama, who led the event after the hurdles, may fall back a little bit here because high jump is at her weakest event. He has a personal best of 174. So one would certainly expect Johnson-Thompson and 1 or 2 others, like Dadic also, to go past her. Fluctuations during the 5 events of the pentathlon, of course. It'll change again quite considerably when we come to the shot. Athletes of very varying standards. Ndama certainly better than Johnson-Thompson, for instance. So that's the 2 groups of the high jump, side by side. And Ndama then coming in to much lower height than we'll have from Johnson-Thompson. This is 166 for the French athlete. The competition started at 160. Vicenti was the only athlete to compete at that. Did it. And now we see Ndama, this exciting new talent from France. No trouble at all. Usually find in the multi-events that the athletes come in at a height well below their best capabilities, because the most important thing is to score at least some points on the tables. If you were to no height or no jump, then you really have lost any chance of getting a good overall score. So points safely on the board for the French athlete there. 1.66 m, that's worth 806 points on the international scoring tables. We go up to someone like Johnson-Thompson, of course, with, as I say, a best of 197. Dadic here, she's got a best of 187. Useful jumper, and again, no trouble coming into this competition. Dadic opening jump 169. Worth 842 points. So as they go up in 3 centimeters at a time, worth, well, in this case, another 36 points. And so we go on right the way up to the very highest scores we might get. Well over 1,000 points. 1,000 points, in fact, is 1.82 m. So early stages yet in the pentathlon. People like Katrina Johnson-Thompson just biding their time. But here's another chance to look at this exciting young Spanish talent, which I know you've been following, Phil, in her junior days.
Well, yes, I mean, she's really come through. I mean, she started making an impact last year in the indoor season when she got a Spanish junior record, Spanish under-20 record at just 16 years of age, still only 17 years of age. And she's got a personal best of 178, as you rightly say. She's coming in at... that was a bit untidy. I was expecting her to do a bit better than that. That's 172. She's got over 166. Looking for some advice on there. I would have expected her. She's actually jumped much higher than that outdoors. Also a very, very good triple jumper. Won the European Under-18 triple jump title as well. So she's a phenomenal talent.
Now the competition moves on. Regina following Centi. That's I think her opening jump in the competition. Now Dadic again. Successful, no problem at all at 169. This is 172 for the Austrian. Really good, consistent competitor now in major events, and certainly a contender. She was the European bronze medalist back in 2016 outdoors, world indoor silver last year as well. And Sjoek lost to ground a little bit, perhaps, on what she might have hoped in the opening event, the 60-meter hurdles. But she's a very good high jumper, personal best of 189 indoors, 183 this year, so this should be no problem for her. Indeed it wasn't. But certainly she's one of those athletes who will be expected to move up considerably in the standings from the bottom of the list, perhaps somewhere into the middle.
And she's got an outdoor best of 192. I think she's an even better jumper outdoors. Just looking at our commentator information systems, we're being told that Katrina Johnson-Thompson is going to pass a few heights and come in at 1.81 m.
Yeah, well, that's quite sensible. I mean, that's relatively low for her, but of course it's beyond the capabilities of a number of the competitors in this competition. She really is a world-class high jumper.
Maria Vicente just making a couple of adjustments to her run-up after that rather ragged attempt at the first time of asking at 1.72 m.
Maybe a little bit over reliance on coach looking around all the time, but also just making sure everything's clear in front of her.
Oh, over the years we've debated this, and I think we're on similar minds on this. I mean, technical eventers nowadays seem to be unable to actually compete without a coach on the sidelines. Wasn't like that when I was competing.
Self-coached?
Which may explain why I didn't do very well. Well, there's a few spare seats in this 5,000 capacity Emirates Arena, but quite a lot of places occupied, and we have been told that it is a sellout for all three evening sessions, tonight, Saturday and Sunday as well. 26 gold medals to be decided at these championships.
She was waiting. There was actually a cone in front of the bar. I wasn't quite sure why, but she was obviously waiting for that to be removed, which it has now. So the clock starting. Athletes now having 30 seconds to complete their jumps, which many feel is too short. New regulation introduced recently. Off she goes.
Nicely done. Yes, that was all a bit tidier. So the bar rises now to 1.75 m, with Maria Vicente just having got over 172. Vicente, after winning a myriad of medals last year, was suitably garlanded at all the Spanish end-of-year sports awards. He's one of the most promising athletes across any sport from amongst the teenagers, and bearing in mind their success in women's and men's under-18, under-20 football competitions. There's confirmation of Vicente's series. So she'll be the first to jump at 175.
Yeah, she was the only one who needed to have a second attempt at the previous height. And we've also said that the other pool is also, in fact, at 172 at the moment. A series of successes already.
Emerson will be coming in at this height.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the promise of Vicente, of course, who's only 17, but Emerson not so much older. She's 19 years of age, will have her 20th birthday in April, and really had an outstanding season last year, and already this year has set a number of personal bests in individual events.
Well, I'll be looking to her, even though she's got several more years in the ranks of going to the European Under-23 Championships this summer, as definitely the favourite for the heptathlon, I would say. Maria Vicente, well, she'll have a few events to choose from. She's also very, very good hurdler indeed. She could probably choose 2 or 3 events at the European Under-20 Championships in Borås in Sweden, coming up in July. Oh. Quite clearly got a little ritual of putting her hair up.
So this is Vicente's first go then at this new height of 175. 3 centimeters below her season's best. And very nice. And she had that stumble a little bit earlier. Okay, it's trembling a little bit, but that was a decent clearance, Phil, because it's not far off her best. I mean, obviously she'll be hoping perhaps to exceed that this time. Certainly if she's going to have a chance, as you referred earlier to, the possibility of having a crack at the world junior record. Meanwhile, here is Neve Emerson, the British athlete, first of the British athletes in action. Well, she's certainly been a very good high jumper for a number of years now, although she's still only 19. Personal best of 187 indoors. And a good solid clearance there to get her campaign underway.
Bags of height there for Emerson.
It's 185. Still think occasionally on going back to the feet and inches, 5'8" 3/4 for anyone who might not know what they are. Americans don't know, do they?
Well, we do actually have a very big number of listeners in the US.
There you go. And Dadic joining her clear at that height. So we're switching between the 2 pools and looking again at Ndama.
Not quite as accomplished as a high jumper as she is at the hurdles.
No, she'll certainly lose a fair bit of ground, because this height of 175 would in fact be an indoor best for her. She has done 174. So a little bit of a bonus really if she does clear this height. Decent card up to there, clean card all the way up to 172.
Just able to concentrate on the high jump in the pentathlon for the moment, but we do have coming up very shortly the first round of the women's 800 meters, which is due to get underway in just about 5 minutes' time.
Yes, the athlete's already out there on the track, just preparing for that. Later on we'll also have, and again they're preparing, warming up, the men's shot put qualifying competition. A really top class field in that. A lot of 20-meter plus jumpers. And the concentration very much in these early stages of the pentathlon is on the high jumpers, and here is 178, which for the young Spaniard would be a personal best in the indoors. Match her personal best. So Vicente, 178. No. Not really terribly close. Again, looking for inspiration outside the arena.
No, just never quite had the height there. Nevertheless, 2 more attempts at this height.
Here's Emerson. 178. Also clear. Again, just touch that bar.
Bags of height though over the bar, just a little bit untidy, bringing her legs through.
She's followed by Kluchinova, the Czech Republic, who passed the previous height of 175, having come in at 172.
Took off a long, long way away. She'll need to readjust her run up.
Well, her personal best is 188, 182 this year, so she would certainly expect to get this height. Doesn't need to be too worried.
Trying to remember, I think I saw her jump that 188. I think it was in a European competition. Oh, Ivona Dadic, very, very good clearance there. 178 for the Austrian. It's 953 points.
She's done 180 this year. And as we've been saying a few times, very much one of the favourites.
I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of the pentathlon high jump in just a few minutes, but now it's time for the first round, 4 heats of the women's 800 metres. And in the very first heat, amongst those 5 women, the 2-time defending champion from Switzerland, probably the favourite, Selina Buchel. Well, nobody in this competition has gone under 2 minutes this year, but Buchel's done 2:00.98. The outside, Adele Tracy of Great Britain, Northern Ireland. There's the very good Swiss runner. The gold bib indicating that she is the defending champion, Selina Buchel. On her inside, Sara Kuvisto, now 28 years of age. Has improved this year to 2:04.20. Making her international debut, Spanish indoor champion Zoya Naumov. And Charlene Matthias, 26 years of age, and just outside her best this year, just outside 2:04.
On your marks.
So 2 to go through, and the 4 fastest non-automatic qualifiers to tomorrow evening's semi-finals. Well, Naumov streaking away very, very quick over the first few metres. Adele Tracy cutting across though very nicely, getting herself into a good position up to the front. So it's Tracy, Naumov, Buchel, Kuvisto and Matthias. Only 5 women in this race. Tracy making her intentions very clear, working very hard at the front. Naumov and then Buchel, and a gap then back to the Finn and the Luxembourg athlete. 59.57 at 400 metres.
Well, pretty decent time for a heat.
Yes, it's Tracy's audacious running has really worked very hard at the front. kept herself out of trouble. Naumov having a very good run at this stage. She's improved this year. Has a personal best of 2:05.15, which she set in the Spanish Indoor Championships. So at the bell, it's Tracy, Naumov and Buchel, and then a gap back to Guvisto and Matthias.
Maintaining a good tempo there, a 31-second third lap.
Naumov now starting to look a little bit tired as Buchel comes round the outside of the Spaniard. Buchel looking very, very relaxed indeed. Big smile on the face of Adele Tracy. Well, Tracy's starting to tire a little bit now as Buchel comes through. Buchel striding home very comfortably, but Adele Tracy gets the reward for all her hard work and gets through to the semi-finals. Naumov just have to wait unofficially, 2:02.03. So Naumov will have run very close to her personal best there in that heat. Buchel timed it perfectly though. Confirmation, 2:02.02 for the defending European Indoor Champion Selina Buchel, followed home by Adele Tracy. So just picking it up with 200 meters to go. And at this point, with 100 meters to go, Selina Buchel starts to motor, coming round the outside of Zoya Naumov of Spain. Well, that's a nice picture of Adele Tracy smiling away there. I think she knows she's got qualification sealed, but Selina Buchel comes through very strongly over the final 80 meters to clinch first place.
Yes, I mean, no surprise Buchel would win, but no wonder Tracy looks delighted. She ran that race really well. She made sure there was no messing about. She went hard out from the start, and she was rewarded with a good time and a good qualifying spot. And I think the others behind should be grateful for the pace she set, because it does give them more of a chance of getting an automatic qualifying.
Confirmation at the time, Selina Buchel winning in 2:02.02. And Adele Tracy second, 2:02.51. Zoya Naumov almost a second outside her personal best, but a good run from the Spaniard, 2:03.16. 4 non-automatic qualifiers to go through to the semi-finals.
In the middle of the arena, we've got the big shot cage, and they will be coming in, and the high jump, of course, continuing. Ndama, yes, well, that's a personal best there for Ndama. So the French athlete really excelling this season. And 175, yes, she'll lose a few points relative to the others in the high jump, but that's a really good competitive effort. Now, last chance to see Vicenti with her third attempt. No, well, she's had a pretty good competition, but that was just one height too far. So she has a best today of 175 for 916 points.
That clearance of Ndama, though, there was bags of height there. Very, very good clearance indeed. Clearly the Frenchwoman very, very confident.
Now Kluchinova, her third attempt as well. Well, she gambled a little bit, passing the previous height of 175. She must have been confident to go higher, but this is her last go. Oh, well, unlucky one can say, but there it is. So she has to settle for a best today of 172, and she'll be disappointed by that.
Very disappointed. She was taking off far too far away on those attempts at 1.78 meters. I think that was a very bad miscalculation by Kluchinova.
Yeah, well, she lost some 35 or so points in so doing. Now, Ndama, we're catching it up now with her second attempt at a failure of the first go. Again, with a personal best behind her, can she add yet more? As Phil said, she had plenty of height on the previous height. No, one attempt left. But this is into bonus territory, really. Plenty of support for all the athletes from the enthusiastic crowd who are intent on those events, but we have now the second heat of the women's 800 meters. Again, 5 runners. Pizzo of France, Liakova, Ukraine, Lint, Sweden, Guerrero of Spain, and Smith of Great Britain. Very big contrast in the levels of experience of those athletes, from Liakova, who's made her comeback this year at the age of 37. She was a 5th placer in these championships back in 2013 and the former European bronze medalist outdoors. Down to Mari Smith of Britain on the outside, who's making her international debut. There she is, Smith, who was a splendid 2nd place in the British Championships to get perhaps a surprise qualifying spot on these championships. Got the qualifying standard here in Glasgow in the international after that. Guerrero, very experienced Spaniard. A lot of Spanish titles. She won, in fact, at 1500 this year, but she's back to her normal event of 800 meters. Lovisa Lind's been one of the most promising young athletes for a while. She was 4th in these championships 2 years ago, and the bronze medalist outdoors in 2016. This is Liakova, as I said, making a return. 2 very experienced Ukrainians competing in this event. And then a young French athlete, 21-year-old Charlotte Pizzo, going on the inside. 2:04.97. The personal best is the slowest of the runners in this lineup. Good opportunity for her to shine on the international stage as a senior for the first time. Pizzo of France, Liakova, Ukraine, Lint, Sweden, Guerrero of Spain, and Smith of Great Britain.
On your marks.
First 2 to qualify for the semi-finals. 4 more on time. So they'd seen the previous race taken out at a good tempo by Del Tracy of Great Britain, and to see how they go in this race.
So down the back straight to the 2nd heat.
Doesn't look to be so quick just at this early stage. Quite bunched up at the halfway around the track at the moment. Just settling down into positions at the first heat. Liakova and Guerrero. Well, it is slower, 30.38, and it's Lovisa Lind who's leading them now. Lind from Guerrero. Smith of Britain out on the outside. Then Liakova and Pizzo, French athlete, bringing up the rear. Lint it is who's taken them round the 2nd lap, but now overtaken by Guerrero. Experienced Spaniard going through in 61.29, so a fair bit slower than that first heat we saw.
Almost 2 seconds slower.
And it's interesting to see that Guerrero, now she's taken the lead, does look to be pushing it on a little bit more on this 3rd lap. Just 2 sure to go through, and they're really getting quite stretched out, in fact, now. Lint in 2nd place, Smith behind her in 3rd, then Liakova, the Ukrainian, coming past Smith into 3rd place. So with the 1 lap to go, it's Guerrero leading in 1:31.33. So a 30-second 3rd lap. She has indeed increased the speed fairly substantially. And Lint looking strong in 2nd place. These 2 getting fairly well clear with just 2 automatic spots. And the next 2 will have to fight hard to see if they can get good enough times. Liakova and Smith, that is, with Pizzo well out of it. Smith coming back into 3rd, but it's Esther Guerrero from Spain who will take this from Lint. Smith finishing strongly in 3rd place. Liakova is 4th, and Pizzo in 5th place. So 2:02.96. It speeded up a little bit, but slightly slower than that first heat. Good run by the Spaniard, though. Used her experience, didn't she? She took the lead around the halfway stage and then pushed on after Lint had done the work on the 2nd lap there, and those are the 2 automatic qualifiers.
Perhaps a bit of international inexperience from Mari Smith there. I would have said that she probably would have been better off hanging on to the leaders rather than trying to come back from such a long way back. Nevertheless, good win from Esther Guerrero. Also good accomplished cross-country runner, part of the Spanish gold medal winners of the mixed relay team at the European Cross-Country Championships back in December.
4 athletes now in Group A over 1 metre and 84 heights.
There's the result. Guerrero and Lind qualifying. Smith 2:03.37. Well, it's not as quick as the third in the first heat. Could be enough though, because there's 4 on times to go through. She'll just have to see whether indeed that does stand up. The Arkova 2:04.22 in 4. Now then, back to this pentathlon high jump. And a look at Neve Emerson with the bar up to 184. Having cleared the previous height of 181. Took 2 attempts at 181, but 184, well, this would be a season's best for the very talented Neve Emerson. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed, Phil.
Yeah, it's a terrific jump there. Everything slotted into place with a run-up and a take-off, and a lot of height there. I think we might be even looking at Emerson going higher, perhaps challenging her personal best of 187 indoors. As we look at Ivana Dadic, well, Dadic has been jumping extremely well herself. And she's nicely over as well.
Well, that's worth 1,029 points to each of those athletes. And now we see Katarina Johnson-Thompson for the first time. She came in at 181, cleared that very comfortably. 184, well within her normal range. We're looking for her to get in the high 190s. We'll see, but yeah, well, plenty to spare there.
She gets over that on sheer talent, though. She was chopping her stride.
She was.
I mean, marvellous height there. It was. I think there might have been a bit of cringing from her coaches in the sidelines.
Yeah, and if she is to get the high 190s, she's going to have to jump a little better than that, but it's early days.
Back on the track, it's the third heat in the first round of the women's 800 metres. A little bit earlier, we saw one extremely good Swiss 800 metres runner, Selina Buchel, two-time defending champion. We're going to get a sight of very, very talented Swiss teenager Delia Sklavas in a moment. You can see as well there the men's shot putters starting to warm up. Men's shot put qualification will get underway at 11:30 local time here in Glasgow. We're 1 hour behind Central European time.
178's the height for Selene Ndama, third attempt. Oh yes, so that's 2 personal bests in the high jump for the delighted French athlete, and she really is confirming the sort of form that she's shown in this indoor season.
Well, absolutely terrific jumping there from Ndama. There's the lineup of the third heat in the women's 800 metres first round. Fastest athlete there, you can see Ligabel there, the Latvian. But that is a very good field. Just 2 to go through as automatic qualifiers. There's Ligabel there, has improved to 2:01.10 this year, the Latvian indoor record holder. Possibly better known as 400-metre hurdler. Here's Sifa Cleara-Butner, now 23 years of age. Some great successes in the under-20 ranks, but is now starting to make an impact as a senior. Norwegian indoor record holder. From a couple of years ago, she ran 2:01.55, not quite as quick this year. Very, very talented 400-metre hurdler during 400-metre runner during her under-20 career. Moved up this winter to 800 metres running, Bianca Razol. Delia Sklavas, well, has a myriad of titles right the way across the range. Former European under-18 champion at 1,500 metres and 3,000 metres. And on the inside, Alexandra Stukova from Slovak Republic. can see the 4 women from the first 2 heats who currently occupy the non-automatic qualifying positions. So it's Razor starting very quickly, also Sklabas on the inside. Velver having the advantage of starting high on the 6th lane and coming across into the lead. Not quite as quick, this is slightly more sedentary pace. That's Liga Velver of Latvia in the lead at the moment. The header Hina of Norway on her shoulder. Tall upright style of Razor, the Romanian in 3rd place at the moment. 61.04. Well, the first heat was 59.57, fractionally quicker than the second heat. Right, still Velver in the lead, towing the rest of the field around. Heiner tucked in behind her, just keeping track of everything that's going on at the front. Razor at this stage, well, keeping an eye on things, running out in the second lane as we hear the bell. 1:33.8. Razor now starting to try and find a way around. Sklabas, the talented Swiss youngster, just getting boxed there, just slipping back. Razor now on the shoulder of Velver. So coming into the home straight, it's Velver, Razor, Heiner, Latvia, Romania and Norway at the moment. And that's the way they're going to finish. Well, 2:05.38, much slower heat than the previous 2 races. Doubt we'll be seeing any of the non-automatic qualifiers coming from this race. Getting through is Liga Velver and Bianca Razor. Hedda Heiner just getting caught short of speed. Well, she's not been in the best of form this year, the Norwegian record holder, but expecting a little bit more from her, I think. Bianca Razor in 2nd place has only run a handful of 800-meter races this year, but one of them was winning the Romanian title. But almost from gum to tape, good run from Liga Velver, the Latvian, who was the quickest in this field and one of the potential Latvian medal contenders at these championships. Confirmation of the time, Liga Velver 2:05.37, Bianca Razor 2:05.55. So it will be Latvia and Romania who are represented in tomorrow night's semi-finals.
Now the high jump getting to an interesting stage here. Here's Neve Emerson. If you look at the card there, you'll see that the bar 187 had 1 failure. In fact, the 4 athletes left in have all had 1 failure at that height. And here she goes, which would be her season's best. Oh yes, it's still wobbling, but it's over. That's terrific for Emerson. Dama, meanwhile, is attempting 181 for the last time. No, crashed out. But 2 personal bests to her in the high jump, 175 and 178. So by her lights, that has been a very successful competition. Now there are 4 athletes at 181. We've seen at 187. We've seen Emerson go clear. Here's KJT. Oh yes, that's much better. The British record holder indoors at 197, 10 centimeters below that, and a little bit of relief because it was still a much better jump.
Without a doubt there. Yeah, still stuttering a little bit. Now we see Laura Akanaisi, the Latvian. Nice jump there from the Latvian. Well, she's just seen one Latvian winner in the women's 800 meters, and Little bit of inspiration there, perhaps. Gets over a season's best of 184.
Yeah, the only one left in that particular group, and she can go on to try 187 next. But in the first group, Shuk and Dadic, in fact, have gone out. So, having said that, here is the chance, that last chance for Dadic. She and Shuk cleared 184. Which is pretty decent, season's best, but Dadic, of course, would have loved to clear this height as well. 187, the two British athletes having gone clear. No, nowhere near, really. As I said, though, she gets 1,029 points. And Shuk also on that same level. Needed 3 attempts to get over at 184. No, it was a decent try, but not to be.
Just seemed to rush it a little bit, didn't she, that final attempt? It was all a bit too hurried.
So we do just have those two British athletes to go on to the next height. Now here we can take it up at 190. Just hearing that Ikonauchi has retired, having been content with that 184 clearance. So just the two British high jumpers in contention still. Well, Emerson are trying to go over 190 for the first time in her life. She's done 189 outdoors, 187 indoors, but already we're pretty happy with that 187 clearance. KJT will be hoping for more. I said the British record holder at 197. Failure first to go at 190. This her second attempt. Oh, getting the stutter bateau. That's good. Plenty of height.
Yes, I think she's really going well. I think she's feeling and looking very confident.
Well, certainly looking to add a lot of points on as we come now before seeing how she progresses later to the fourth and final heat of the women's 800 meters. Peteljuk of Ukraine, Balsionate of Lithuania, Eikens of Belgium, Oscan Clark of Britain, and Lamotte of France. So top names here, the two in the outside lanes. Here is Lamotte just on the outside there, the European silver medalist twice outdoors, and a sub 2-minute runner, but hasn't got too close to that indoors yet. 2:01.97. Oscan Clark proving to be a redoubtable championship competitor, third in the world indoors after second in the European indoors. Eikens, who had the misfortune to fall in those Europeans last year, the European junior and under 23 champion. Balsionate of Lithuania, pretty experienced at the age of 30. And another of the Ukrainians coming back at the age of 37. This is Tatiana Peteljuk, who was a medalist at the World Indoors back in 2008. And like her compatriot who we saw earlier, Liakova, making a return this year. And Peteljuk on personal best, the quickest in the field, 1:58.67, but that was a while ago. So just the first two to go through. Peteljuk, Balsionate, Eikens, Oscan Clark and Lamotte. Well, they should know what they need to do, because they should have the advantage of knowing how the previous races have gone. Oscan Clark, a fine tactician, and also has got good speed. She's not going particularly quick, though, just leading this. And in fact, Peteljuk decides to take charge here, because I think she knows that her best chance is of getting a decent time. And it really was pretty slow first lap. So Peteljuk leading from the reluctant leader early on, Oscan Clark. Lamotte settling in just behind those. And it's, well, we can see what the second pace was run at, because certainly this is a faster lap than that first one. Tatiana Peteljuk taking up the running as they come up to the halfway stage. Lamotte moving into second place, and it's 60.52. Well, it was indeed a second lap, so Peteljuk pushing on, using her experience. Lamotte in second place. Oscar Clark just getting a little bit boxed there because she's been passed now. Alcionite of Lithuania and Eikens of Belgium, the other two that I have mentioned so far in this lineup. As they come up to the bell here. And 1:31.97. The pace has eased, has significantly improved from that first lap. Eikens and Lamotte and Oscar Clark just too sure to go through. But certainly she's pushing on very strongly here, and quite a battle for the other spot. And has Oscar Clark left it too late, or has Lamotte? No, in fact, it's close, and it'll depend on times. But Eikens exit in 2:03.08. And Oscar Clark just getting up to edge Lamotte there for the vital second place. Lamotte may have done enough on times. We'll have to wait and see. I think she probably has. But Eikens very strong last lap, I must say. She really moved positively to the front, didn't she? And really stretched them out. Nice run by her.
Well, Eikens has come here with a point to prove. She memorably tripped over in the home straight of the 800-meter qualifiers in Berlin last year, and well, the Belgians think that she's got a fair chance of getting up there for the medals, and certainly she's looking very impressive there. But we've still got 2 rounds to go. The semi-finals tomorrow evening, followed by the final on Sunday.
And I can confirm that indeed Lamotte has done enough. 2:03.54 was her time, and that will take her through. Yes, Eikens after that, and Prashipa helped her to her feet and got the European Fair Play Award because of that. Result of Heat 4 of the 800 metres, a win for Renee Eikens, 2:03.07 from Oscar Clark, and Lamotte also qualifying with Balcianati and Peteljot run out of it. So that concludes the 800 metres, and there are the qualifiers led by Selina Buchel from Adele Tracy. No real surprises there, I think, overall in the qualifying for the semis. Some nice running, some sensible running by most of the bigger names. Now in the high jump, Niamh Emerson, 3rd attempt at 190, already a good jump at 187. This would be a PB if she can go yet higher. Well, no, but a good try, and I'm sure 190 will come her way sometime later in the year. But certainly Emerson can be very pleased. She ran a personal best in the hurdles to start the day. She's matched her indoor best in the high jump.
Yeah, she really wasn't that far away from that height. It was an excellent attempt, and as Peter was saying, I'm sure when we get to the big outdoor competitions of the year, or perhaps even Gotzis, the famed multi-events international in Austria, it's going to be a height that she can probably negotiate.
Well, the shot is getting underway. This is the qualifying round, the list of competitors. The biggest name there, David Stoll, very consistently amongst the medals. 2 very good Eastern Europeans here, Stanek of the Czech Republic and Haratik of Poland. Bukowiecki, of course, the silver medalist last time. A really top standard, and the qualifying, automatic qualifying, is 20 meters 90 or the top 8 to go through. And every single competitor here has put the shot over 20 meters. It really is a very strong lineup. We start with the Bosnian, Mesut Peza, who was 3rd last time. Sorry, 7th last time, and improved to 5th in the World Indoors. And there you go, the yellow line showing that automatic qualifying standard of 20 meters 90. This looked like a pretty decent start, but as I say, such is the standard of the competition that they'll need to be close to that, I think, if they are to make the top 8, with 18 men in all lining up. Pez has been pretty consistent this indoor season over the 20-meter area, and he started there with 20:22. Now then, KJT, Well, she failed her first attempt at 193, which is the new height, going up in 3 centimeters at a time. This, a second attempt to stretch her lead overall in the competition. This would be a matching of her season's best in the high jump. They're allowed a minute now. We're down to the closing stages. And there she goes, and that's the best jump we've seen from her yet. Not only the best height, but the best technique, I think, Phil.
Yes, I mean, soaring over the bar as well. I think there's more height to come there. The bar will go up to 196 in a moment. And that was really a very, very good jump indeed. Of course, 193 worth 1,145 points. She'll be in the lead after 2 events. Everything goes clear there. Well, as we mentioned earlier, she is the holder of the British indoor record at 197. Just for your reference, if you're wondering, championship best in the high jump is held by the great Belgian Tia Hellebuut, who, well, Peter and I were there in 2000. Sorry, it's held by Nafi Thiam, the great Belgian, 196 from 2 years ago.
Back in the shot, rotational technique used there to decent effect. Marcus Thompson, I think that's a little further than the put we saw by Pezza. Thompson is really coming through this season. He's only 21 years of age, but he's got the Norwegian under-23 record up to 20:58. And he's not far off that there, I think. Let's just see. Well, there we are. Decent start for Thompson. Now, Johnson Thompson, 196, her first attempt, just a centimetre short of her British indoor record, looking to stretch her lead over the other pentathletes. We've seen a terrific clearance by her for 193, just one failure early on, psyching herself up ready. 196, world-class high jumping in this multi-event discipline. Saw her win the title 4 years ago, of course. Oh yes, 196. It's all going to plan for KJT.
And once again, an absolutely terrific jump. Yes, the bar did bounce up and down a little bit, but there was a huge amount of height there. Well, that personal best, British indoor record, and that equals the championship best from Nafi Thiam 2 years ago in Belgrade.
Well, in Prague, when she won the title with 5,000 points, she did 195. So she's increased that a little bit down on her hurdles time. 8:15 in Prague, 8:15 or 8:18? Yeah, 8:18, just checking my notes. And she was a little slower than that this time, but it's all going well, and she's heading for a good score. Look at the delight. She looks very serious as she prepares, but after that success. Now here's, I say, the man who's won the title back in 2015. He's got a silver and he's got a bronze as well in these indoor championships. David Stahl of Germany, so consistent, still using the linear technique. Not such a good jump, not such a good throw there, around the 20-meter line. You probably need to go better than that. But he is so consistent when it comes to the big events. Perhaps just not quite in his best form the last couple of years. 21:32 to his credit this year.
One of the reasons, by his own admission, is that he's paying quite a lot of attention to his family these days. He's got a growing young family.
So now Jakub Szyszkowski, one of the very strong Polish trio. Takes a lot just to make the Polish team, but you can see just how good he is. That's probably the best yet. A little short of the automatic qualifying standard, and he sets himself high standards, no doubt. But he has done a personal best of 20:55. And he's not so far off it with this particular throw. we just briefly saw the leaders so far in this competition. But here now is Tomáš Staněk, the Czech, who's one of the favourites. Third in the world indoors, second in these championships 2 years ago. Mighty roar. Oh yes, and that's our first automatic qualifier. That automatic standard at 20.90, and that's just over that. So his day's work is, the morning's work is done. Tomáš Staněk, Czech, who's a 22-meter putter, in fact, his personal best. This year, Ryan Krauser, the best in the world at 22.33. And there it is, confirmation. Now we come back to Johnson-Thompson, and she's had one failure, but now she's looking at that bar at a British record height of 199. Oh no, nowhere near. This might of course be a height too far, but she's pretty pleased with her day's work so far. This would tie the best ever in a European pentathlon. High jump by TFL had about, as Phil's already mentioned. Johnson-Thompson will have one attempt left. Now training in France. Just her regime.
Jumped to really just a little bit too close to the bar there. I mean, she was taking off the bar going up.
Well, those are the standings there. Fine competition by the British pair, and Dam will be pretty pleased as well.
So now the men's 1500 meters, the first round. 3 heats. First 2 in each of those heats go through to the...
Next on the track is the heats of the men's 1500 meters.
Well, I was going to say the first 2 and 3 non-automatic qualifiers from the 3 heats. This first heat includes one of the famed Ingebrigtsen brothers, Filip Ingebrigtsen, the 2016 European outdoor champion, succeeded of course by his brother, who goes in the next race. So the very talented young Spaniard, Adrián Ben, just 20 years of age. As I think we often comment, the well-named Voldemar Kutz of Ukraine. European under-20 10,000 meter champion. Dropping down distance, Dorin Rousseau. This is the 23-year-old Frenchman, Mehdi Belhaj. Neil Gourley, the Briton, getting a big cheer from the home crowd here. And the in-form Luxembourg runner, Charles Grethen. Filip Ingebrigtsen has improved his best to 3:38.82 this year. Marcus Props, the fast-finishing German. Watch out for him. Former European under-18 3,000 meter champion Elvin Bibic, and Ervan Verchen of Armenia on the inside. So 10 men in this race. 7.5 laps of the track here at the Emirates Arena.
So Neil Gourley, a member of the different North Park.
Vikricha in the lead at this stage as they work their way around. Ben on his outside, and now Filip Ingebrigtsen coming around. Well, Filip Ingebrigtsen perhaps slightly put in the shadow by the feats of his brother, the prodigious Jakob Ingebrigtsen, but nevertheless a very fine runner indeed. Just concentrating on the 1500 meters at this competition. Jakob Ingebrigtsen going over both 1500 meters and 3000. Dorin Rousseau, the very tall Romanian, better known over 5 and 10,000 meters outdoors, so not too sure of the Romanian speed. With the overhead shot, you can see languishing at the back, Belhage just seeing how the race is unfolding in front of him.
Well, pretty slow start, 65.50 first 400.
So 199 not to be today.
Yep. But Ingebrigtsen still controlling proceedings on the inside. Philippe Ingebrigtsen, well, won the Nordic International 3,000 metres earlier this year and then finished third at the Dusseldorf IWF World Indoor Tour meeting last week. Now Belhage, after hanging on at the back, picking it up with 4 laps to go, getting to the front. So quite tough qualifying conditions with just the first 2 to go through. And now the speed increasing rather dramatically. Neil Gurley getting to the front and really picking up the pace.
Which is still slow overall, 2:08.79 at 800.
Renfen coming around the outside, and Marcus Probst. We've seen Probst finish very quickly at a number of European outdoor competitions, including the European Team Championships. Now the field really starting to string out, thanks to Gurley's pace. So 2:37.45 with 500 metres to go. And still Neil Gurley at the front. Mehdi Belhage in second and Philippe Ingebrigtsen in third. That's the 1-2-3 at the moment. Elvin Bibic, the tall Serbian, just behind them. Well, 300 metres to go now. And it's still Neil Gurley in the front, now really starting to work hard as they hear the bell with 200 metres to go. It's Gurley of Great Britain, Ingebrigtsen of Norway, and coming through very quickly. It's Adrian Ben now. Ben having to work very hard though, but in front it's Gurley and Ingebrigtsen starting to put daylight between themselves and the rest of the field. With Marcus Probst coming through very, very quickly, trying to close them down. Probst, but probably has left himself too much to do. Ingebrigtsen just swings around the outside of Britain. And it's Ingebrigtsen taking the win for Norway. And Neil Gurley of Great Britain and Northern Ireland second. Marcus Probst, well, finished very quickly, but left himself too much to do over the final 100 metres. And the German takes third.
Yeah, good run by Ingebrigtsen. Good run by Gurley too. He's based in the USA, but of course he's a Scot, so they'll be pretty pleased with that.
On the lower left-hand side of your screen, you can see 3:46.50 for Ingebrigtsen, 3:46.63 for Neil Gurley. Probst, well, might be quick enough to see him through. 3:46.93 for the German. And then a bit of a gap back to Elvin Bibic of Serbia, just inside 3:48. Yes, I was very impressed with that run from Neil Gurley. He did everything right.
Absolutely. I mean, he really took it on. There was slow first 800, and then he took it on and didn't go too quick, but increased the tempo, and that was a very nice, because he's not very experienced internationally, but that was a very nice performance. And we have seen him at the under-23 level, for instance, but that was a good start for the seniors.
Yes, I mean, we know what Philippe Ingebrigtsen's capable of, but Neil Gurley really ran a very mature race there.
Last chance for Katrina Johnson-Thompson at a British record height of 199 in this women's pentathlon high jump. 196. Excellent jump already to her credit. Can she go higher? Well, no is the answer. Nowhere near on the 3 attempts at 199, but a good first 2 efforts. And she, of course, like the other pentathletes, will come back in a little less than an hour and a half's time to undertake the women's shot. All the events decided on one day for the pentathlon, so they've up at first events, and then we finish late in the day.
So the results of that first heat of the men's 1500 metres confirmation. Philippe Ingebrigtsen 3:46.50, getting through quite comfortably. Neil Gurley running a very good race, 3:46.63. Keep an eye on those times. 4 non-automatic qualifiers with Marcus Probst and Elvin Bibic following the 2 automatic qualifiers home. All the way down the field, the rest of the 10 men.
Shot continuing. Here's another of the top names in that competition. This is the Pole Haratik. Started with a no put, so this is his second attempt. Has seen one automatic qualifier so far. Well, that's a decent put, of course, around 20 meters, but may or may not be enough. He's got one attempt left. Top 8 will go through, or those who are achieving the standard of 2090. Heretic, spinner. Second and first in successive European outdoor championships. Well, that's the table so far. So we now see the Luxembourg record holder, very much the top Luxembourg athlete, Bob Bertins. He set a whole series of Luxembourg records up to 21 meters. No. Well, I say no, not an automatic qualifier, but it'll take him into the top 8, all right. So there it is, 20:49 by Bertins. Second best so far. Now then, this is the second heat now of the 1500 meters. It's the full lineup of the 9-man field. Deniselle of France in the inside lane. Robbie Fitzgibbon for Britain. Rolim of Portugal, Sasinek of Czech Republic, Jensen of Denmark, Ordóñez of Spain. Interesting seeing him moving up from 800 meters. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, one of the big stars, will go in lane 7, then Debjani and Bebendorf. So this is Bebendorf, the German on the outside. Good season domestically, had wins in Chemnitz and in Erfurt. Mr. 3:40.67, one of the quicker men in the lineup on his previous best. Next to him, then Ismail Debjani of Belgium, who's excelled outdoors. His Belgian record at 3:33.7. And here is the superstar of the European Championships outdoors last year, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Just hearing, in fact, that Philip Ingebrigtsen in the first heat has been disqualified. I don't know if Jakob will know about that yet, and of course there may well be a protest against that. We'll follow that up later. Next to Jakob is Saul Ordóñez, the Spaniard, third in the world indoor 800 meters, then Nick Jensen of Denmark, Filip Sasinek from the Czech Republic, again a man who's moved up 800 meters, good finisher. He's been looked upon by the Czechs as an exciting young talent. Emmanuel Rolim for Portugal goes third from the inside. The man who's competed for Britain at European junior and under 23 levels, making his senior debut. This is Robbie Fitzgibbon. 3:42 this season. And on the outside, Simon Deniselle of France. 3:37.70, his personal best. Well, we've just seen a fairly slowly run first heat. It'll be interesting to see whether they take note of the fact that there are more spots available in the final on times, because it's just the first 2 to go through. One would assume that people will make it quicker, but you never can tell. Everyone thinks they got a brilliant finish. For the first chance to see Jakob Ingebrigtsen in action. Now the world junior record holder. A wonderful win over Teferi. And he's just tucking on the outside, steering clear of trouble at this early stage. Well, it looks to me at this stage a little quicker than the first heat, with Ingebrigtsen making his way on the outside. On the inside we have Sasinek in the lead, but now that he's been passed, and there's no messing about here by this super talent. As they come up, we can take a check on the time soon. Well, they're coming up to 300 meters, and settling in second place, the Dane Nick Jensen. Yes, it's certainly quicker. Ingebrigtsen is not messing around with this. He's not leaving anything to chance. He knows his form, he knows his class, and he's gone through in 60.2, substantially quicker than Heat 1. So the other runners ought to be pleased that he's making their work easy for them. Ordóñez, well, he won the Spanish championships at this. We've seen him, of course, come to the fore recently at 800 meters. But he's obviously a real talent at 1500 as well. And he's running nicely in second place. The British crowd spurring on Fitzgibbon, who they can see has now moved up into fifth overall. The Belgian athlete, Ismail Debjani, also well placed. They come up to 4 laps to go. Ingebrigtsen pushing on. Not at a dramatically quick pace, but just making sure it's honest. Denisel running for France. Oh, on a speed through on the inside, but Ingebrigtsen won't have that. He wants to hold on to his lead ahead of the Belgian. And Ordóñez still tucking in second place. And remember, it's only 2 sure to go through. Denisel, the Frenchman, in the dark blue colours in third place, fourth place. But it's still Jakob Ingebrigtsen leading from Saul Ordóñez. They'll come up this time to the 1200 metre point. 1000 metre point, I should say. And Ordóñez just challenging Ingebrigtsen on the outside, but Ingebrigtsen determined to hold on to that lead, determined to control the race, which he's certainly doing at this stage. Ordóñez just behind him. 2:45.08 on the clock. And Ingebrigtsen looking really good here. He's been controlling this race from ever since the end of the first lap. And the battle on for the other places. But Ordóñez looking good in second place, just behind him. And the top 5 now seem to have got clear. Fitzgibbon still very much up there. Debjani, the Belgian, in third place with Fitzgibbon, then Denisel. So at the bell, it is Ingebrigtsen who leads from Ordóñez. And it's certainly much quicker than the first heat, so there could be more times to play, but there's a big burst from the back coming through as well, just on the outside there. Sesije finishing strongly, but Ingebrigtsen, oh, and off the track. We'll come back to that in a moment, but it's Ingebrigtsen who leads them through, and indeed takes it. And it was Ordóñez who moved off the track just when he'd been looking good in second place. So I'm not sure what went wrong with him, but no doubt about the class and the form of Jakob Ingebrigtsen as he came through to take that race.
Well, significantly faster race by almost 5 seconds from the first heat. Well, it started off quicker at 1,000 meters. They were about a second quicker than the first race, and then it just got picked up the pace over the final 500 meters.
And Debjani doing very well to make sure he was clear in second place, sure of a spot in the final. Might be more on times behind, certainly more than the first heat. We'll see how the third one goes. But I'm not quite sure really what happened to Ordóñez. He just seemed to step off the track.
He does exactly. There didn't seem to be an injury problem. He didn't seem to be cramping or suffering from any sort of minor pull. He just literally just swerved off the track. One of those inexplicable things at the moment.
And there's shots of the first 2, and then Sesije and Fitzgibbon finishing pretty well behind them. 3:42.84, 3:43.09 respectively, and they might hope that's enough to take them through to the final. There is confirmation of the result. Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Ismail Debjani, the qualifiers for the final, with Sesije, Fitzgibbon, Denisel, all finishing in decent times. So the big news just coming through on the start of that heat, really, that Philip Ingebrigtsen had got disqualified from Heat 1. And let's have a look at how this goes. So look out for the Norwegian. Now, there we go. And he's on over the curve there, running inside. No, is that his fault, though? Was he pushed over it?
Well, it looked as though Gretham had the Luxembourg athlete had a hand on him and was pushing him into the inside. I think there's grounds for an appeal there.
Well, I'm sure there will be, so we'll let you know, of course, if we do get any further news on that.
Nevertheless, as things stand at the moment, the revised result from the first heat is that Neil Gorley is pronounced the winner, and Marius Probst of Germany is the automatic qualifier in second at the moment. I think there's going to be a little bit more of that story to unfold, though.
This is the Russian competing as an authorized neutral athlete, Afonin. And there's another. We're seeing a whole lot in that sort of series, just over 20 meters. It's really a question of whether that will be enough. Afonin, who has a 21-meter plus put to his credit. And that one 20-30. And now we come to the second round. We saw Pezza to start with, and he at the moment is in the top 8 with that opening 20-22. It may not be enough, so let's see if he can get further in the second round of this competition. 3 attempts for each. Well, it's similar. It might be a little better. Certainly we know that it's going to take over 20 meters to get into that last 8. That was what one would expect with all these 20-meter plus men. And Pezza moves up into third, 20-32. But there's not much to play for. 20-13 at the moment. David Stahl is the last qualifier.
So the third and final heat in the first round of the men's 1500 meters. 9 runners in this race, and the man to pick out is Marcin Lewandowski, the defending European indoor champion, and a silver last year outdoors over 1500 meters. On the outside, Samir Damani, France. Now 27 years of age, Damani. And another of the very good contingent of Spaniards, Jesus Gomez, making his international debut at the age of 27. He's come through well this year. Alongside him, Andreas Dimitrakos, Paulo Rosario, 24-year-old Portuguese runner who's improved to 3:43 this year. There's the Lithuanian indoor record holder, Simas Gratasius. Well, a Norwegian not called Ingebrigtsen, Ferdinand Kavan Edman, filling the slot of Henrik Ingebrigtsen, who's concentrating on the 3,000 meters. Jan Friis, new face in the Czech team, 23 years of age, wearing the gold bib as the defending champion, Marcin Lewandowski. And on the inside, better known as an 800-meter runner, a European bronze medalist outdoors back in 2016, experimenting with the 1500 meters this year, Elliot Giles. He's come through and ran 3:39.53 this year, so Giles certainly a talent as well. Well, Lewandowski, the second fastest man in this competition, has run 3:36.50 this year, only shaded by Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Samir Damani, now 27. We've seen a lot of Damani over the years, and right the way through track competitions, cross-country. And Damani going straight into the lead and putting some daylight between himself and Paulo Rosario in second place of Portugal. Friis of Czech Republic in third. Lewandowski right at the back at the moment, just watching how the race unfolds in front of him. very steady pace at this point. 31.88 lap.
It's not as quick as the second heat, though.
No.
And there you are, 64.16. And I think they're going to need to step it up a bit if they're going to look at fastest loser spots.
I think it's Lewandowski feeling very confident. He's got the quickest finish. Interesting to see how Elliot Giles does here with his 800-meter credentials. Giles and Lewandowski, the only two men to have broken 3:40 this year in the field. So it hasn't particularly increased the pace. Darmani still at the front, controlling proceedings. Lewandowski just keeping a watchful eye at the back, staying out of trouble. We've already had drama with disqualifications in the first heat. Now Gomez moving around the outside with 4 laps to go. So it's the Spaniard Gomez now in the league, and now Giles out in the second lane, edging his way round. Looks as though he was going to move up and then edge back. 2:09 for 800 meters. So yes, it isn't as fast as the first two races, that's for sure. Spain, France and Great Britain, that's the 1, 2, 3 at the moment. As Gomez starts to inject a bit of pace. 2:38.88, so a long way back compared to the previous races. It's by far the slowest of the heat so far, with 500 meters to go.
And they should know that Lewandowski is there, and he's the incomparable sprint finisher, so they're playing with fire here.
And despite his inexperience, Giles has good credentials over 800 meters, has a good turn of speed as well. But it's still Gomez. 1,200 meters, 3:07.29, 300 meters to go. Now the pace starting to pick up, but it is a slower run race compared to the first two heats. And as we say that, as we hear the bell, Lewandowski has moved up very, very quickly. Now hits the front and starting to go through the gears. Gomez and Darmani behind him. Elliot Giles just starting to be a bit of a gap between the leading three, and Giles in 4th place at the moment as Lewandowski now starts to really move. Gomez having a very good race at this stage. Young Spaniard. Well, Lewandowski looking on his inside, you can see Gomez. It's Poland, Spain and France. That's the 1, 2, 3. 3:47.50. Well, the slowest of the three races.
A very poorly run race by most of the field, I have to say. They should have known what sort of times they have to do. For someone like Elliot Giles, who's run us up 3:40, that was a very, very poor run. But, I mean, Lewandowski is renowned for his finish. You're running just for one place after that, and it's probably between those two.
Yes, and Gomez, though, as you said, a poorly run race by many of the people behind him. But Gomez did everything right. He took up the running with about 400 meters to go and came through nicely. One of these season's revelations as far as the Spanish middle distance brigade is concerned. Hasn't broken 3:40 yet indoors, but on an upward curve. But it all looked very easy for the defending European indoor champion Marcin Lewandowski.
Back to the shot. Marcus Thompson, the Norwegian. 20:30 to start with, and he's in that top 8 at the moment, you can see on the left of the screen. Well, another fine throw. He really has come through this year. He's consistently over 20 meters. 21, he's I think the youngest in the field, or certainly one of them. And yeah, better, 20:41. So he now is in 3rd place, relegating Peza a little. Still 20:13 or more will take you through.
White flag. Well, better. 8th at the moment is women's triple jump qualifying, 13 meters and 13. Midfield though to get
Well, you might have seen in the background there some of the women's triple jumpers in action in the qualification. Well, the competition's been underway about 15 minutes now, but it's a very big field, 19 women in total. Some of the names to pick out. You saw there Ana Pelleterio, the very good Spaniard. Olga Saladuka, former world and European champion of Ukraine. Not quite in such good form this year, hasn't gone over 14 meters, but nevertheless, very well-known athlete. Ruji Diallo, former world under-20 champion. So qualifying conditions, top 8 or 14:20. So Susana Costa, the very tall Portuguese triple jumper, perhaps the number 2 Portuguese triple jumper behind Patricia Mamona. Well, Costa starts with a very good jump.
Terrific start, yeah.
Yes, personal best this year of 14:13, and that's there or thereabouts as far as... Nicely put together, all 3 phases. Spot on the board. Nothing left to spare there. Well, not much emotion on the face of Costa, but I think that's very close to her personal best. Might even have gone a bit further. Oh yes, nice. Opens with 14:28, an automatic qualifier, and a personal best indoors by 15 centimeters. Paraskevi Paparizou, the reigning European champion outdoors, the Greek, hasn't jumped this year. This is her first competition indoors. That looks like a second automatic qualifier. Has a best of 14:47. Had some injury problems over the course of the winter. Nevertheless, looks as though she's put those behind her. She's jumped a legal best of 14:73 outdoors. Now coached. She swapped and changed her coaching team. Well, 14:28 as well for Paparizou. So she gets an automatic qualifier, and it's a quick morning's work for her. Oh, Saladuka. That's another automatic qualifier. 2012 European champion. Now 35 years of age. Certainly a season's best for her. .14:40 for Saladuka. She leads the qualifying competition, and you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen some of the marks from some of the earlier jumpers who we haven't seen. Ana Pelleterio getting 14:18 there.
Second heat result, we have got another disqualification. In fact, Debjani has been disqualified. So Jakob, Ingebrigtsen and Fatsinek go through, and also Fitzgibbon, Denisel and Beddendorf on times in what was, of course, as we saw, the quickest of the heats. Now let's have a look to see this particular reason. Debjani, the Belgian athlete, who's in 3rd place there, and it's instruction, well, he's gone right round and got in the way of others, so that was the reason. He moved out from that inside lane just rather too speedily and in the way of other people. So obstruction was the rule there. So that looked more clear-cut probably than Ingebrigtsen's disqualification, and that's the result of the last heat.
Yes, Marcin Lewandowski and Jesus Gomez going through as automatic qualifiers. Slowest of the 3 heats. There's the roundup of everybody who's going to go through to Sunday night's final, led by Jakob Ingebrigtsen. That very impressive heat win, the second heat, 3:42. Going through as non-automatic qualifiers, Fitzgibbon of Great Britain, Denisel of France, Bebendorf of Germany.
Now then, this is the third final round. We've seen each of the puts by Peza, who's now down in 7th place. So not sure really yet of his place in the final. Consistent throwing. That's another good one. In fact, very good one. That looks like it will challenge the automatic standard. That'll take him through to the final, absolutely surely. Let's have a look again at the big Bosnian. Pretty happy with that, obviously. And let's get the distance. Yep, 21.08. Well, that's a qualifier and indeed the best throw of the day. So, David Stahl needs to find a little bit more. He's lost his 3rd place. He needs to get over 20:31 at least. Redoubtable competitor, obviously, but he's not in his best form. That is better, though. That may be enough. So, lacking the usual zip that we see from this man, who, as a man still using the linear technique, does tend to be more consistent than many of the rotators. And well, it's up into 3rd place, 20:61. So that probably will be enough, as it turns out, but it's not an automatic qualifier. Women's 400 meters. We start with heat 1. There's the lineup, the 6 athletes who are competing there. There's crowd support, of course, for Zoe Clark, Scottish athlete who runs for Great Britain in this race. Brossier of France on the outside. Then Zoe Clark, who's been running quite a lot at shorter distances this year. And she was 6th in the world indoors last year. Horvat from Slovenia, consistent competitor, got a best of 52.22 as a personal best. Qualification for this is, well, there are 7 heats, in fact, as we look at Maja Sidic from Serbia. It's the first 2 in each, and then 4 more on times will advance to the semis. Salma Celeste Paraluello from Spain, youngster, only 15 years of age, one of the youngest ever competitors. And then Katerina Klimyuk from Ukraine on the inside. So the full lineup: Klimyuk of Ukraine, Celeste Paraluello of Spain, Sidic of Serbia, Horvat of Slovenia, Clark of Great Britain, and Brossier of France. Zoe Clark really came through a couple of years ago as a top-class 400-meter runner. Represented Scotland in the Commonwealth Games last year.
On your marks.
And Clark's been sharpening her speed this year by running some 60-meter races. First came through, though, when she was 4th in the Commonwealth Youth Games back in 2011. And competed for Britain in the under-23 Europeans in the relay. Silver medal in the World Championships 4x4 2 years ago. And she'd just love to do well here in Glasgow. And certainly the outside lane's already prominent. Clark and Brossier. Clark has eaten up the stagger on Brossier. And then in the red, the Serbian Sidic in lane 3 is running strongly. And it looks like Sidic is going to come across. Clark trying to hold off, but Sidic it was who led at 24:45, decent time. at the first lap. Clark in second place, just 2 short to go through. The French athlete is Brossier. She's now being challenged on the outside by Horvat. So it's quite clear at the moment. Sidic and Clark may be in danger of being run out of it. It's all happening on the inside and the outside just there. All really happening in the last stages of that race. And Brossier, the French athlete, came through in strong style there. Rather slower than I think I would have expected at 53.41. But disappointment for Zoe Clark. There's Horvat, the Slovenian. Confirmation that Brossier is winner at 53.40, and just she and Horvat sure to go through. Klimyuk, have to wait and see. 53.68. Well, it is a personal best indoors for her, but a little bit of a surprise and certainly a disappointment that the British athlete and Scottish athlete Zoe Clark didn't figure better. And just look at the finish there. I mean, Zurich had really led them out and it looked like she got a big lead, but just look at the way the athletes currently in 3rd and 4th come through. Brossier and Horvat. Horvat it is first of all who moves into second place, and Brossier comes from quite a long way back. She finds a clear run on the inside here, manages to get through past Clark and also Zurich, who's fading, and it all changed in the last 50 meters.
Very good run there from Amandine Brossier, one of the new faces in the French international team. He's had some credentials in the past as a relay runner.
So the result, Brossier winning in 53.40 from Horvat 53.53. Klimyuk was third at 53.68, followed by Sidic, Clark and Celeste Palaluelo. Now Haratic looks reasonably well placed, I think, being 4th at 20.51. Let's see whether he can perhaps get that qualifying standard as well. European medals outdoors, to add to that indoors as well. And yeah, that's a very good one, only just short there of the qualifying standard, so that's probably the 3rd best put of the day. Surprise here has been that his compatriot Bukowiecki of Poland looks like he's failed to qualify. But Haratic's okay. Haratic there, 20 meters 98. Now Bertins, the Luxembourger, 20.49 so far. Maybe enough. No throw in the second round. This is his final go. Luxembourg record holder. Oh, and that too is good. So a number of the competitors producing their best in the last. We saw that from Peza, we saw it from Haratic, and we've now seen it from Bertins. All three getting the automatic qualifying standard. Well, we have to go back to Jose Bartel in the Olympic Games in 1952 for a Luxembourg champion on the very biggest senior events. But Bob Bertins is certainly in contention. 20 meters 97 there. And in fact, it's all over, and those are the top 8 who qualify. Peza, Haratic, Bertins, Stanek, Stahl, who improved in the last round, Thompson and Scarvelis and Bello. So some quite big names not making it. Afonin, for instance, managing 20.30, and Bukowiecki, perhaps a bigger surprise. Kolasinac, former medalist, not making it through. A really good standard, and in the end it was 11 men who got over 20 meters. Just the top 8 there going through to the final.
I think that's going to be an extremely competitive final this evening. It's going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds, and Peza just a few centimeters shy of his own national indoor record.
Yes, well, certainly from what we saw there, very little to choose between them. But of course, men like Stanek, capable of a lot more if they can just find it on the day.
Now the second heat of the first round of the women's 400 metres, just 5 runners in this particular heat. The one to look for, of course, the very good Pole Iga Baumgart-Witten. Ran a terrific leg to help the Poles win the European 4x400 metres title last summer in Berlin. So Baumgart-Witten has improved to 51.91 this year, the only woman to have run under 52 seconds in this field. Agnes Raharelari from France. Well, we've just seen one good run from a French woman. Rossier qualifying. Nadine Gonska, German, 29 years of age now. And the newly minted UK under-20 indoor record holder over this distance, the 18-year-old Amber Anning. In lane 2, Sophie Becker of Ireland. Perhaps the outsider in this race. Just a reminder of the qualifying conditions to go through to tomorrow's semi-finals. First 2 automatic qualifiers and then 4 non-automatic qualifiers. Well, Baumgart-Witten won the Polish indoor title. Has had a very, very good year. In fact, she's actually undefeated this year so far in 4 outings. So the 29-year-old Pole settles into her blocks. From the inside, Becker of Ireland, Anning of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, Gonska of Germany, Raharelahi of France, and Baumgart-Witten of Poland. So as you might imagine, is the pole away out very quickly. So too Anning in lane 3. Anning really working hard in lane 3. She's come through very strongly. So 150 metres coming in to hear the bell. It's Anning in the lead. Baumgart-Witten now cutting across. 24.69, not quite as quick as the first heat. But Anning really having a very good run here. Baumgart-Witten, the class athlete on this season's list, doing very well at this stage. Closing down Raharelari of France. So they're coming into the home straight, 50 metres to go. Anning starting to tire, Baumgart-Witten coming through. And just coming through on the outside, just to pit Anning for second place. It's Raharelari of France, but no doubt at all about the winner. It's Baumgart-Witten. So Baumgart-Witten using all her international experience to come through on the second lap and take the victory and see herself comfortably through to the semi-finals. Just wait for confirmation of the times. There you can see 53.17, so fair bit quicker than the first heat. Raharelari coming through 53.21. Anning 53.26 for Anning. Have to wait and see. Might well be quick enough to see her through.
Certainly it's a very decent senior international debut, no question about that.
Yes, very gutsy run over the first lap from Amber Anning, the 18-year-old Briton. Still looking good at this stage. Raharelari having to come round the long way, ending up out in lane 3. But just has enough finishing speed just to pit the Briton for the second qualifying place. But Baumgart-Witten, the blue bib signifying she's the European leader, the fastest woman in Europe this winter. Comfortably, very confidently seeing herself through to the semi-finals. And confirmation of those results. Baumgart-Witten 53.17, Raharelari 53.21, and Amber Anning 53.26, just 26 hundredths outside her UK under-20 record. So we're in the second round of the triple jump now. Christina Makala, 13.95, I should say, in the first round for the Finn. 14.20, the automatic qualifying distance. And that's a lot closer to it. Gets the white flag. Well, we saw 3 automatic qualifiers in the first round. Saladuka of Ukraine, Costa, Portugal, and Paparistu of Greece. That doesn't look quite as far as 14.20, but looks like a bit of an improvement on her first round. (14.06). That moves her up into 5th place. Just 5 women so far over 14 meters in this triple jump qualifier.
That's nearest the jump nearest the centre of the infield.
Fairly modest competition so far.
10-men jumping. We're trying to whittle it down to an 8-man final tomorrow. So the criteria are that if they jump 2 meters 28.
So Makala jumping 9th out of the 19, and so you can see we're halfway through the qualifying competition, halfway through the second round. Nice images there of the Emirates Arena here in Glasgow. There's the seats just below us.
In Group B, it's a welcome back to the former world indoor and European champion Gianmarco Tamberi of Italy, the championship jumping after a serious ankle injury. We've also got in Group B.
So now Ruji Diallo, the former world under-20 champion, the French woman. Diallo jumped 13.83 in the first round. Needs to do a bit better to see herself through. She's lying at the moment in 7th place. Kalu very quick on the run-up. Well, she gets the white flag. It's close to about 14 meters. Won't be as far as 14.20.
Coached by Teddy Tamgo, who himself is making a little bit of a comeback at the moment. I mean, he's wonderful triple jump talent. I'm not sure if you see a picture of him in the crowd.
Yeah,
oh, there he is. There he
you
is.
can see his arm.
Just on the edge of it. Yeah.
Yes. Look for a man in a check shirt.
Yes.
Yes, Tamgo is actually coaching quite a number of athletes these days. You see him quite regularly around the international circuit.
Heat 3 of the women's 400 meters. We have 6 runners in this one, so we are using lane 1, which we didn't in the previous heat. So we've got Miklos of Romania, Nadhazi of Hungary. Well, I'll go through the reverse order because this is on the outside lane. Phil Healy of Ireland, who's a talent and won Irish titles at 60 meters up to 400 meters. Was 4th in the European Junior 100 back in 2013. Then we have Deborah Sananes of France, who was one of their relay silver medalists in the outdoor European Championships. Raffaella Boahen Lucado goes for Italy. She's 53 second at her best indoors. Tatiana Melnik, Ukrainian champion the last 2 years at 400 meters. 52.77, third fastest in this lineup. Evelyn Nadhazi, 3 times the Hungarian champion, including this year. On the other side, another promising young talent, 19-year-old Andrea Miklos from Romania, silver medalist in the World and European Under-20 Championships. So Miklos, Nadhazi, Melnik, Lucudo, Sananes and Healy. Phil Healy, plenty of hopes from the Irish for her to do well. She's the fastest in the lineup with a personal best of 52.08. This is the third of 7 heats. The 400. French athlete Sananes,
On your marks.
former finalist at under 23 level as well.
Set.
They go then in heat 3. Fast start by Phil Healy of Ireland on the outside, and also by Tatiana Melnik of Ukraine in lane 3, who's up on Lucudo, the Italian. Always good to get that inside spot if you can at the halfway stage. And it is Phil Healy who's going to be clearly in the lead, followed by Sananes. 24.36, so pretty quick there for Healy. Then Sananes, then Melnik. And then the Italian Lucudo. Melnik coming up fast. Just the first two, sure to go through. Phil Healy, can she hold on? Has she got the strength? She's finishing strongly on the inside now. Oh, and it's again inside and out. Coming through, and Healy has to settle for third place there. And so it was a very strong finish by Lucudo, the Italian, who managed to find a clear run through to the finish there. And the clock showing 53.01, so that's the fastest of the heats that we've seen so far. Well, Healy will be in the next fastest slots at this stage, but there are 4 heats to come.
Well, a very impressive run over the final 50 metres there from Lucudo, finding the space to come through on the inside, and augurs well for the Italian 4x1 400 metres relay on the final day.
Yep, well, her time actually is confirmed at 52.99, and then Sananes 53.05, and then Healy will be the fastest third placer so far. Her time 53.13.
Just 100th outside the best for Lucudo.
But look how far back Lucudo is at the moment. What, some 12 metres? Now she comes back past the Ukrainian. But still quite a lot of work to do. Still in 4th place. And then sees that the inside is open. Healy just coming out a little bit into lane 2. And that gives the Italian chance to go past. And also a good finish, of course, by the French athlete out there in coming through in second place, with Healy relegated to third.
I just don't understand, though, why Healy didn't hug the inside lane much closer, because that would have been the obvious thing. It's in simple terms the shortest route to the finish.
But athletes often do drift out, and I mean, she could well have got there, so may rue that. On the other hand, it may be enough to take her through, but she won't get such a good lane draw, of course. So Lucudo, the winner, in 52.99 from Sananes, 53.05, Healy 53.13, Melnik 53.39 in 4th place.
Slightly disappointing run there from the young Romanian Miklos, expecting a little bit more from her. So now we are in the 3rd round of the triple jump. Tati Alba of Estonia. 13.01 at the moment to the Estonian's name from her first round. I don't think that'll be enough to see her through to the final. Alba has a best of 13.75.
So after Milka of Germany goes to their 2nd time at 2 metres 10, and Bar moves to 2.16 in Group B. Chris Baker, Great Britain in Group A.
We're just taking a little bit of time to get the graphics up with the distances. There we go, 13.39. So she's lying down in 13th place, so she's not going to progress to the final. Well, Anna Pelletiero, she's in 4th place at the moment with 14.15. She's been in fine form this year, improved to 14.51, second best Spaniard ever indoors. Former world under-20 champion. She can be fairly confident progressing, but still hasn't got an automatic qualifier. That's not going to change things. Little bit of frustration there on the Spaniard's face.
White flag raise, 14 metres and 15, first jump, 13 metres and 99. Just in fourth position in terms of the top 8 qualifying for the women's triple jump final. Dvoransko, making easy work at 2 metres and 10.
Very quick on the runway. Plenty of bounce. Nelson Abora from Portugal. It's the same coach as Pelleterio. So 14.03, but I think that's probably going to be enough to see her through. As we move along to the fourth heat of the women's 400 meters first round. Just 5 women in this heat, but a notable Justyna Święty-Ercetyk of Poland, the European outdoor champion. Not quite as quick as her compatriot Baumgart Wittner, who we saw 2 heats ago. So from the outside, the very talented Italian, very good 400-meter hurdler, Aimide Folorunsho, now 22 years of age. European champion from Berlin, and also mainstay of their relay teams. The Poles are the defending champions at the 4x400 meters. Justyna Święty-Ercetyk. Anna Ryszkova, Ukrainian, now 29 years of age, runs in lane 4. Another very good 400-meter hurdler as well, the European under-20 champion, Yasmin Geiger.
Completing the lineup in lane number 2.
And on her inside, the Austrian runner, slowest runner in this heat, Suzanne Wally. So from the inside, it's Wally of Austria, Geiger of Switzerland, Ryszkova of Ukraine, Święty-Ercetyk of Poland, and Folorunsho of Italy. Well, we've just seen in the preceding heat a very good run from Folorunsho's compatriot, Lucado. Provided a masterclass of how to run indoor 400 meters.
Set.
Oh, it's Ryszkova in lane 4 who's out the quickest, almost up on the shoulder as Święty-Ercetyk. Folorunsho running very well at this stage as well. Bit of a gap back to Geiger and Wally. So it's Ryszkova at this stage who's going to have the lead as they hear the bell. Not quite as quick as a couple of the earlier heats, 24.81 at 200 meters. But it's Ryszkova, Święty-Ercetyk, and coming around on the outside, Folorunsho. Geiger not in this race so far. Well, Folorunsho having to work very hard, having to come the long way round, but she's coming around the outside. Święty-Ercetyk of Poland just edging in front. So it's going to be the European outdoor champion, Święty-Ercetyk, who wins. Ryszkova of Ukraine on her inside takes second, and Folorunsho of Italy, she'll just have to wait and see whether she goes through as one of the 4 fastest non-automatic qualifiers. So very straightforward outing there for Święty-Ercetyk. 52.64, so fastest of the 4 heats so far. Ryszkova 52.73.
Well, the Poles will have a very strong relay team as well, but I mean, this young lady is a master of indoor running, and she's also a very fine last leg relay runner for them as well. And they will be perhaps favourites for that. Good strong run by the Italian, though, of course. I think you were speculating in advance that she should bring her hurdling prowess to the fore here. Only 0.02 between the Ukrainian and the Italian. 52.75 will surely take her through to
I would imagine so, yes. Yes, personal best. I was just checking. I was looking down at my notes. Personal best for Ryshkova of Ukraine coming through in second place there, but no doubt at all about the winner, and a very, very competent performance from Justina Schweite-Ersetic, winning in 52.64. The fastest of the 4 heats so far, but we have another 3 heats to come. So we have Patricia Mamona of Portugal. Well, her compatriot Susana Costa's already got an automatic qualifier and had a short morning's work. 13.86 at the moment for Patricia Mamona. That's better. It's certainly an improvement on her 13.86. Step phase seemed to be a little bit constrained. 14.11 though for Patricia Mamona, and she moves up to 5th place. So Mamona in a qualifying position at the moment.
Yeah, 13.82 or more at the moment, and actually the British athlete Naomi Obeta has twice jumped 13.80 for a national under-23 record and is 1 place off currently.
Well, some of the youngsters here in the Emirates Arena enjoying themselves this morning. Seen some very good qualifying competitions and some exciting races already, and things building up. Tonight we have 3 gold medals to be decided, including the women's 3,000 metres, which will feature the local star Laura Muir. So the men's high jump qualifiers, and there's the European leader on your screen at the moment, Gianmarco Tamberi. Leads the European list this year with 2:32. Not exactly a stellar year for high jumping. Andrei Protsenko, well, he seems to have been around for a very long time. Has jumped 2:30 this year, one of a very small number of men who've jumped 2:30. We'll have 2 groups side by side. Outdoor champion Maciej Przybyłko, not in the best of form indoors this winter. Przybyłko negotiated 2:35 in Berlin to win his gold medal there on home soil. So this is Dmytro Demjanuk. His father was also an outstanding high jumper. Well, clatters into that. That was not a very good jump at all from Demjanuk. So 3 failures at 2:10 for Demjanuk. Leaves the competition without a mark to his name. Former winner of the European Team Championships. I can remember him jumping very well in terrible conditions in Stockholm.
Women's 400 metres, heat 5. 5 runners in that, headed by again another top hurdler, Leo Sprunger, who will run in the outside lane there. Elkvist, Putalova, Vakule, Bueno and Sprunger. Sprunger much the quickest in that lineup. Season's best there of 52.19. European champion at the 400 hurdles. This is Sprunger. Seems to have settled on 400 metre hurdles being her #1 event. Talented all-rounder. Certainly a major contender for a medal here at the flat 400 here in Glasgow. Inside Sprunger in lane 5 we have the Spanish champion this year, Laura Bueno, 53.07. Second fastest this season of this lineup. Gunta Vaikule of Latvia. Married name now. She was formerly Latiseva Dadari. Iveta Putalova. Well, she was in terrific form 4 years ago. She was fourth in the final then. Hasn't quite approached that since. The Swedish champion, Matilda Hellqvist, completing the lineup. 54.03, her best. So first two to go through. Hellqvist, Putalova, Vaikule, Bueno, Sprunger.
On your marks.
Sprunger here in the outside lane of this heat 5.
Set.
Well, Sprunger certainly out well, not much to choose between the rest of the field. Strong start by Hellqvist of Sweden on the inside, but Sprunger certainly opened up a lead with Vaikule of Latvia in the middle. Putalova just inside her. So coming across, checking the time here for Sprunger. 24.51, similar time to what we've seen in previous races. Bueno going for Spain. And Sprunger certainly running very strongly, powerfully down there. Vaikule in third place, but it's the Swiss and the Spanish athletes well clear at this stage. We've seen some dramatic finishes. Vaikule trying to make up ground on Bueno. Will she get there? Sprunger wins. Oh, it's close for second. There was a strong finish there from the Latvian Vaikule, who came up on Bueno. And, well, I just have to wait to see what the confirmation of the photo finish says on that. Because Bueno was leading all but the last metre or two, but did the Latvian catch her? That's the question. Sprunger's time confirmed at 52.46, so they're getting quicker. That's the fastest time of the day, quicker than we saw from Sveti Erzitic in the previous race. And it was Vaikule who's come up and indeed smashed her Latvian record, taking it down from her best from 53.34 to that record of 52.66. Bueno 52.67, rewarded with a personal best. That'll take her through to the final. So the first three there, and then there was quite a gap before Hellqvist, nonetheless, who ran a personal best of 53.93 in fourth place. So this was a strong run by Leah Sprunger, and again confirming her status as one of the favourites for medals when it comes to the final. Semi-finals contend first, of course. Bueno holding on, and at this stage the Latvian Vaikule was quite a bit further back. But her finish was very good indeed. Just got Bueno in her sights. Looked like Bueno was going away from her again, but then the long striding Latvian comes through and indeed takes it just on the line.
Noticeably, Bueno looks over her left shoulder with about 40 meters to go, and Vaikule comes round on her right shoulder. I'm just wondering whether Bueno thought she'd got it with about 40 meters to go and then almost started to ease off, not realizing that Vaikule was coming round on her outside.
Result of heat 5 was a win for Leah Sprunger in 52.46. In second place, Gunta Vaikule of Latvia, a national record 52.66. Bueno, personal best 52.67. Those three will be okay, I'm sure, into the semis. Then we have Hellqvist and Putalova.
Well, the men's high jump qualifying going on underway, and we're still coming towards the end of the women's triple jump qualifiers as well. We've still got 2 heats of the women's 400 metres first round to come in the next few minutes. Now that's part of the Katrina Johnson-Thompson fan club as we now look at the triple jump. So Vakuska of Bulgaria. Well, gets a red flag, so she's not going to progress. No improvement for Vakuska. Well, that's the current standings in the triple jump. Still some athletes to take their third round efforts, but we have 3 automatic qualifiers, Saladuka, Costa and Paparistou. They got their marks in the first round. Anna Pelletiero, 14-15. Well, I think she can feel confident that she's going to go through despite having a non-automatic qualifier. By my reckoning, there's still 8 athletes still to jump. That includes Diana Zaganova, the Lithuanian on your screen, who I think is still, who will be the next to go. So we switch back to the track for the 6th heat of the women's 400 metres first round. The semi-finals will in fact be this evening, along with the men's 400 metres. Not perhaps quite as strong a heat as some of the others. Here's the fastest woman. On current form, Lada Vondrova, the 19-year-old Czech. Agnes Srpski of Lithuania, 24-year-old Portuguese indoor champion, Kada Azevedo. The Russian, Polina Miller, running as an authorized neutral athlete, one of a number of Russian athletes who've been passed to compete here. And the Cypriot, Eleni Artimata, possibly better known as a 200-meter runner, now 32 years of age. Two favourites on the outside lanes, Vondrova in lane 6 and Srpski.
On your marks.
2 athletes who've run inside 53 seconds this year. So from the inside, it's Artimata, Cyprus, Miller, an authorized neutral athlete from Russia, Azevedo, Portugal, Srpski of Lithuania, and Vondrova of Czech Republic.
Set.
Well, it's Miller, in fact, who's out quickly in lane 3, the 18-year-old Russian. Also doing well on the outside, it's Srpski of Lithuania. But Miller really pouring it on at the moment in lane 3. She's coming round very, very hard indeed, and she'll be in the lead at the bell. Vondrova cutting across very sharply, getting in front of Srpski. So it's Miller, Vondrova and Srpski at this stage. Well, Miller has got a lot of outdoor credentials, hasn't got much indoor experience, but running very well at the moment. The 18-year-old Russian in the lead. Sesije coming up on her shoulder, but it's still Miller. Miller takes the victory, followed home by Sesije of Lithuania. Well, 53.04, not a bad time at all. Personal best, well, it's adjusted to 53.03, so an indoor best for Miller. Lops 600ths of a second off her previous best. 53.14 for Sesije. And Vondrova, well, she was the fastest on current form. Didn't run the best of races, but the Czech came home in third.
Sesije in that 6 heat of 7, and the win is 400 metres.
See the closing stage of the race, and Sesije coming through very strongly with about 80 metres to go. Gets past Vondrova, closes down on Miller, but doesn't quite have enough to go past the teenage Russian. Miller holds on. I don't think just doing a quick bit of arithmetic, that's going to be quick enough for Vondrova to go through. So confirmation of the results from the 6th heat. Miller getting through with a personal best of 53.03. Sesije 53.14. Vondrova 53.29. I'm just checking down my list. No, that's not going to see her through. 4th fastest at the moment among the non-automatic qualifiers. Reference point for the final heat, Amber Anning at 53.26. So, the British jumper, Naomi Ogbeta, set an under-23 record with those 2 jumps of 13.80. Doesn't look as far, though. I don't think she's going to progress. Does get the white flag, though. Nevertheless, an indoor best for Ogbeta. I'm sure she'll be a medal contender at the European Under-23 Championships coming up in Sweden later this summer. But for the moment, she's out of this competition. She just misses out in 9th place. Still a couple of jumpers to jump. Now, the world under-20 champion in a bit of trouble here. Alexandra Nacheva hasn't got over 13 meters yet. Oh, disappointment there. That's not going to see her through to the final either. The expression on her face tells it all. She knows that's the end of her competition. Well, there were high hopes that Nacheva was going to get perhaps into the final. Not to be her day. Silver medalist at the European Under-18. She's still only 18 years of age. It's a fantastic future. No improvement though, 12.88 for Nacheva. She finishes, well, there's still one more jumper to come, but she's down in 17th place at the moment. Well, Hanna Krasutska, she's in 8th place at the moment with her first round 13.82. Just one more jumper to come after her. Well, she doesn't get much height through her phases. Don't think that's an improvement. So a few nail-biting minutes for Krasutska. Well, there'll be Ukrainian representation in the final thanks to Ola Saladuka, who Had a good jumps, 13.70. So she'll just sit and wait as the final competitor takes her last jump in the women's triple jump. But we're back on the track
for the final heat of the women's 400 meters. Vasiliou of Greece, Bolengo Mbonga of Belgium, Pokusacemo of Spain, De Witte of Netherlands, and Doyle of Britain. A couple of athletes there who have sisters. In Vasiliou's case, a twin who also competes at 400 meters, but not in this championships. De Witte being the other one. Right, so on the outside we've got the very experienced and very talented Eilidh Doyle from Great Britain and Scotland, of course. Second back in 2013. Bronze in the world indoors last year. Lisanne de Witte from the Netherlands was the bronze medalist in the European Championships outdoors last summer. Multiple Spanish champion, Ari Lorena Boquesa goes in lane 3. Used to be a basketball international at one time. Cynthia Bolingo Mbongo of Belgium, the former European under-23 finalist. Improved this year to 52.70. And one of the twins, Irene Vasiliou of Greece, second in this year's Greek Championships. She's run 53.39. Well, Doyle on personal best, much the quickest in the field at 51.45, and she's the quickest this year at 52.43.
On your marks.
Doyle only 4th in the British Championships, but nonetheless managing to take her place here in the team. Doyle at 32, the oldest in this lineup. Vasiliou, Bolingo Mbongo, Pokusacemo, De Witte and Doyle from the inside. Well, the Belgian Bolingo Mbongo has gone up quickly, second from the inside. And Doyle, very experienced indoor runner, knows to try to get that vital lead at halfway. Let's see if she can this time. But Bolingo Mbongo running strongly, and also De Witte. But here comes Doyle. Ooh, well, it's De Witte and Doyle pretty much together, and De Witte's got the inside. So fairly quick at the first 24.32 there. 2 short to go through. Doyle has to hang on to De Witte, with the Belgians still very much in contention. And there's a bit of a gap. But it's still De Witte leading as they come into the finish now. De Witte leads, and the Belgian comes on. Bolingo Mbongo gets second, and Doyle third. Quick enough, though, to get through. But, of course, coming third means you won't get such a good lane in the semi, because it's seeded according to what happens in these first round heats. Fine run by De Witte. 52.56 shown on the clock. So, was that the quickest? I think it probably was, of the heats. Yep. And Bolingo Mbongo getting a Belgian record in second place, taking a 10th off her previous record by running 52.60, Doyle 52.81.
Well, very gutsy run by Eilidh Doyle over the first 200 meters, but starts to tire as Bolingo Mbongo starts her run for home over the final 100 meters. But De Witte looking as though she's going to be quite a force to be reckoned with. She makes it through the semi-finals. Good run from the Dutch woman. Very quick run, very quick finish from Bolingo Mbongo, and Eilidh Doyle getting through. The effect being that she nudges out Amber Anning.
Yes. Yes, that's slightly ironic. Yeah, this is the second fastest heat, of course, in that Sprunger ran a little quicker when she won her heat. So that concludes the women's 400-meter running. Had a big entry there with necessitating 7 heats. The result of heat 7 was a win for Lisanne de Witte in 52.56. Mbongo 52.60, a new national record for Belgium, and Eilidh Doyle qualifying with 52.81. So the 400 metres for women, the list headed by Sprungers, 52.46. A couple of national records in there by Bolingo and Bongo and by Vaikule. And the little cues indicating who's also qualified for the semis, headed by Phil Healy there. Now the pentathletes are out there again for their next event, which is the shot. So we've had the 60-metre hurdles and the high jump, and that's how they look now, with Katrina Johnson-Thompson leading at 2.252, a very big lead over Ika Nyetsi 2.093, Emerson 2.075, and those personal bests in the high jump serving well for Ndama, who's got into third place just ahead of Dadic. That's the full list of the competitors. And they're starting with the shot, the 12 competitors. Led off by Ika Nyetsi with the leader, Johnson-Thompson, in second place. This, of course, is a relatively weak event for her, but she does have that huge lead. We're interested to see how Emerson, Dadic and Ndama do when they come to their puts. Emerson's been setting PBs this year. So the youngster in third place. Now this is Ika Nyetsi. Personal best of 13.92 for Latvian, who's coming back to competition this year. There are 3 competitors in the lineup who've done over 15 metres. So they'll be looking to move up. Nyetsi there through the shot cage. One can see that's probably a little over 13 metres to start with. She'll be followed into the circle by Johnson-Thompson, for whom this event has been a worry in the past. We'll see how she fares this time. And Ika Nyetsi 13.31, so a fair start for her. Now Johnson-Thompson. Well, she has got up to 12.68 at her best. Let's see how well she can fare here. Well, that's not bad. That could be a PB even. Let's see, when she competed in Prague and got the gold medal there, she did 12 meters 32. And she looks reasonably happy with that. This is an event, obviously, she had to work on. Remember, her throws, both the shot and the javelin, when it comes to outdoors, have been relatively weak. And there we go, the pleasure on her face, because she's got over 13 meters for the first time. 13.15, well, that's very good to see. And well, that's very important for her. Just 2 events to go, 2 good events.
Well, we've still got a lot going on in the field, but we're now back on the track with the first of 2 heats in the first round of the men's 3,000 metres. Well, this is going to be a very good race indeed, I think. We've got some classy athletes. Andrew Butchar, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, only 90 minutes after his qualifier in the 1,500 metres. There's Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Well, he set a world under-20 indoor best, just a few fractions outside 3:36. He's also got some very classy credentials over 3,000 metres. Of course, the outdoor European 1,500 and 5,000 metre champion. Jimmy Gressier, well, you remember him from the Spa European Cross-Country Championships, the under-23 winner for the last 2 occasions, became something of a social media sensation for his victory celebrations in Tilburg. Well, big field. We'll take you through it as we get underway. 15 laps of the track. On your mark. 17 men in this heat. First 4 in both of the 2 heats to go through, along with the 4 fastest non-automatic qualifiers. So just to give you the full lineup as they get themselves sorted out: Ratonen of Finland, Batselmeyers from Germany, Leanderson, Sweden, Andressian, Netherlands, Bedrani of France, Nikolaev of Russia, competing as an authorised neutral athlete, Travers of Ireland, Andresen of Iceland, Orth of Germany, Svala, Norway, Ozdemir, Turkey, Bossi of Spain, Buchat of Great Britain, Ivaneski of Macedonia, Gressier, France, Atkin, also of Great Britain, and Ingebrigtsen of Norway. Well, it's the 2 Frenchmen, Gressier and Bedrani, who are leading the way at the moment. Jimmy Gressier, terrific cross-country runner. 21 years of age. I'm sure he'll be in action, as we've talked about, with the European Under-23 Championships coming up in Gävle in July. Bedrani on his shoulder, and then the unmistakable figure of Jakob Ingebrigtsen in 3rd place at the moment. Andrew Buchat in 4th place. We switched back to the pentathlon. Anouk Vetter, well, she's a very good shot putter. Oh, very nice put indeed. Well, you can see the 14-meter mark there, and that's significantly over that. Nice putting there from Vetter. Vetter has a personal best of 15:45. That looks well over 15 metres. Oh, she's got a rather placid look on her face. You can see the infield scoreboard behind her. Yes, 15:40, so just 5 centimetres shy of her personal best for Vetter. That's going to make a big difference to her standings.
Yes, that's 888 points. Kusan next. Kusan, 14:31 is her personal best. A good solid competitor throughout the multi-event disciplines. A little down there on what you'd be looking for, perhaps. Oh no, 14:01. Oh, that's very good. Season's best, not a personal best, but a season's best. So now we have Niamh Emerson, who's already improved her personal best this year to 13:60. Oh, that's terrific. That's even better. That's getting close to 14 meters for this hugely talented youngster. Lying in 3rd place overall at 5:075, and a splendid shot put will help. She's, of course, a very good long jumper. She's looking a bit worried there, but now she sees how much it is. Personal best. Yeah, it's all going well for her. 13:93 now in the shot. No throws weakness for Niamh Emerson. Now then, Dharma, who set the best time in the hurdles, 2 personal bests in the high jump, and that leads her with 2:062 points in 4th, and decent shot put. Yeah, I mean, she did do 14:47 earlier this year, so she might be seeking a little bit more, but she certainly opened up with a very respectable distance in the mid-13s. Gained a little ground, obviously, on Johnson Thompson, but not much. 13:50 there. Standing shown on the left of the screen.
Just over 5 laps to go, 5.5 laps to go as we rejoin the 3,000 metres, and it's Jimmy Gressier still in the lead, as he has been almost from the bell, with his compatriot Bedrani behind him, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Andrew Bouchard. That's the leading 4 as they come up to the 2 kilometre mark. 5:17.78 with 5 laps to go. So pretty decent pace. But Ingebrigtsen looking very, very comfortable in 3rd place at the moment. Well, the field now quite strung out. Nikolaev, the Russian, the balding Russian, on the inside in 4th place at the moment. Still about 11 men in contention for those 4 automatic qualifying spots before daylight appears as we look down the field. Ingebrigtsen now moving to the front. Andrew Bouchard and Sam Atkin getting into a good position as well.
737 points, the event leader.
Ingebrigtsen just looking so relaxed. I'm sure his only worry is whether he's recovered from his 1500 metre heats. Well, he was the fastest man in those heats, 3:42. It's a tough double, having to run 4 races in 3 days. Of course, Laura Muir did it in the women's events last time around in Belgrade 2 years ago. So coming up for 2 laps to go, 400 metres, Ingebrigtsen leading with Andrew Bouchard and Jimmy Gressier 2nd and 3rd. Sam Atkin up there, Bedrani on the inside. So now a group of 7 away. Coming up to hear the bell. 200 metres to go, 7 men in contention. Jakob Ingebrigtsen leads the way. Andrew Bouchard on his shoulder. Florian Orth coming through, coming from the back. There's a bit of pushing and shoving between the Swede and Sam Atkin. Well, Bouchard now starting to pour it on. 50 metres to go. Bouchard now has clear sight of the line. Ingebrigtsen looking around, looking very confident. Bedrani coming through on the inside. So it's going to be Ingebrigtsen, Bedrani, Bouchard and Florian Orth coming around the outside to take the 4th automatic qualifying place. 7:51.21. Good time for a heat of the 3,000 metres at the European Indoor Championships. Now the men in the 2nd heat know what they need to do. Good run from Bedrani, although he was up and down the group of leaders, a little bit like a concertina at times. Jakob Ingebrigtsen just looked so relaxed and so confident and really dictated everything that needed to be done.
Yes, he'll be glad they extended the schedule between the heats and the 3,000 metre from the original schedule, of course, but yes, he's had a very good morning.
And a European under-20 record.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
7:51.20. I mean, I didn't register immediately.
No.
Andrew Bouchard just a shade behind him. And he looked so relaxed doing it, didn't he?
He really is a very impressive young man.
Well, just looking at the times as they're unfolding at the screen at the far end of the stadium, well, that was a very competitive race. The leading 7, there was less than a second covering the leading group of 7. We'll give you confirmation of the times in a moment, and there's a plethora of personal bests in there as well. Gressier just missing out on the top 4. He'll have to wait. Nevertheless, good run from the 2 Frenchmen on the either side of your screens.
Kuchinova in the shot of the pentathlon now. We're into the 2nd of the puts for each of the athletes. Oh, that's a very good throw indeed. That last white line there is drawn across the sector at 14 meters. So that's well in excess of that. Vetter, of course, with the best put of the competition, with opening with 15.40, but I think that's the second best that we've seen. Yeah, there's confirmation. 14 meters 73. Well, that's worth 843 points. And a good performance for the Czech. Two field events still going on, of course, not only this women's shot, but also the qualification for the men's high jump. And we've got one more track race. That's the second heat of the 3,000 meters to come.
Yes, the bar in both the pools of the men's high jump qualifiers up to 225. Automatic qualifying height is 228. I'm just doing the arithmetic. I don't think we're going to need to go that high. Anyway, there's the results of the first heat of the men's 3,000 meters. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, as you can see, a European under-20 record of 7:51.20 in the heats, and a slew of personal bests behind him. Completing the results.
And the next heat, there's the start of the lineup for that. Palacio, Balabanov, Dixon, Kovac, Tobin, Foppen, the other Ingebrigtsen, the oldest brother, Henrik Ingebrigtsen, so the third one we've seen today. Benjamin de Haan, Senov of Bulgaria, then Hassan, Parsons, Kowal, Jimenez, Vojta, O'Hare. Chris O'Hare, interesting competitor, and he stepped up from 1,500 meters for this indoor season. Then Hendricks and Jokic completed that lineup. So let's just pan across from the outside. We've got a big field of 17 men, which is a lot, so let's hope they don't run into any trouble. There's Chris O'Hare, just introduced to the crowd. Twice a world indoor finalist at 1,500 meters. Kowal, former European steeplechase champion. Sam Parsons, yes, he says Germany. He's just taken up citizenship from the USA, so he's switched successfully. And Henrik Ingebrigtsen introduced to the crowd. First, second, third and fourth in the last 4 European Championships outdoors at 1,500 meters. Quite some record. So those are probably the bigger names to look out for, and they were the ones that were highlighted on the introductions to the crowd here in the Emirates Arena in Glasgow. So off they go on their 15 laps of the track. Let's hope they settle down quickly, because this is a very big field. And we'll see who's prepared to make it. Well, it's Henrik Ingebrigtsen, the oldest of the brothers, wearing the dark glasses there, who's making sure this is run at an honest pace. Well, the first heat was pretty quick for a heat, and they should know what they've got to do here if they're going to come apart from the first 4 into the top places. Coming fast on the outside, the Bulgarian Senov, also known as a steeplechaser. Chris O'Hare, of course, really encouraged by the Scottish crowd, the British athlete. He knows he's got a good finish, obviously, off his 1,500 meter running, and he's just settling in the middle of the pack at the moment. Ingebrigtsen leading them at a sensible pace, not too quick though. Take a 400 meters split as they come past us now, and that's 66.65. Well, that's pretty honest. So already we've got what, stretching out some 20 meters plus behind Ingebrigtsen. Kowal, the Frenchman, just on his shoulder. 2 Dutch athletes, both prominent, Mike Foppen and Benjamin de Haan. And it is de Haan now who's taken up the running from the young Spaniard Palacio. Koval just in the middle behind them. Henrik Ingebrigtsen settling into third at the moment, with Senov, the Bulgarian, in the green vest and red shorts, in fourth place. O'Hare still in the, well, just beyond the back of the middle of the pack. Hahn still leading from Palacio. 2:11.92 at 800, so virtually the same pace. 66-second laps, a couple of them. And that's a sensible pace. They're getting the going here. Ingebrigtsen still in third place. Right at the back of the field, the other Spaniard, Sergio Jimenez. He's a 7:51 man. He's content to bide his time just for now. Just behind the Irishman, Sean Tobin. So De Haan from Palacio and Ingebrigtsen. Koval still prominent as he has been throughout this race. O'Hare's moved up a little bit now into 8th, 9th. Palacio's now taken over from De Haan at the head of affairs, with Ingebrigtsen content to run along in third place. So another 4 minutes or so to go in this race. And it's Ikanyetsi in the third round now of the shot. A couple of 13-meter plus efforts.
Halfway right, 4 minutes.
Oh, red flag. I was thinking that might be further, but no. So her best stays at 13:31.
Curiously, Ikanyetsi is just wearing conventional training shoes rather than specialist shot putting shoes. I was wondering whether her footwear's gone missing.
Well spotted, sir. Meanwhile, the 3000, no major change in the order. We go past the back. There's the standings in the shot, with Klusinova's put 14.73, leading the way from Preiner, 14.32. And here's Johnson Thompson, her last go. Already with a personal best. A modest second round effort, but she'll be pleased with that 13.15. Let's see how she can fare on the last go. No, not so good. But nonetheless, I think she'll be pleased with her first session of the day's work.
Have you got a running total, Peter? How does it compare to Prague? Because her marks have been very close to it.
Yeah, she'll be ahead. She'll be ahead because she was ahead in that one and also just in the high jump, a little bit down in the hurdle. So I haven't got the exact score, but ahead certainly. Remember, that was 5,000 points.
I think it still remains the second best of all time.
Well, that's, I mean, we shouldn't get too excited at this stage maybe, but that is world record schedule, in other words. So I will get excited later. Meanwhile, back at the head of affairs of this race, it's Robin Hendricks, the Belgian, who's taken it up with Ingebrigtsen, always prominent here, just tucking in behind him in second place. Chris O'Hare, to the delight of the crowd, has moved up onto the shoulders of third place there. And the leading groups getting whittling down a little bit, but remember it's only 4 short to go through. We have 3 laps to go. Ingebrigtsen now back in the lead. from Jimenez, who's made his way all the way up from the back in the early stages. Noticed that at the time. And O'Hare. Hendricks, the Belgian who led briefly there, is now in 4th place, tucked in on the inside. Parsons, the German, ex-American, coming up on the outside there. But the mustachioed Ingebrigtsen very much still in contention here. Jimenez behind him, then O'Hare. Well, he's stretching it out now, is Ingebrigtsen. Off the bell, it's 7:25. So it's a little slower than the first race was. O'Hare running well in 2nd place. The crowd like that, and they like the way he's going to take the lead, is he? From Ingebrigtsen, or is Ingebrigtsen going to hold him off? No, it's O'Hare into the lead. And that'll be the first Scottish man first across the line today. And it is coming up to the finish now. O'Hare, Ingebrigtsen just looks back and he checks that he's got through all right. And in the end, the first 4 were fairly well clear, as Jimenez, for instance, rather faded in the last laps. Parsons pleased that he's got through all right. It's 7:53.40, so a little slower, and that means the first 7 are sure to go through from heat 1, and I think the first 8, because that was a 7:54 time. O'Hare's time 7:53.39, 7:53.80. Then Koval also getting through okay, 7:55.42, and Parsons 7:55.60. So just those 4 qualifiers and the first 8 in heat 1.
Yes, that first heat was very quick indeed. And indeed, Jimmy Gressier, Jonas Leanderson, Sam Atkin and Florian Orth will go through as fastest non-automatic qualifiers. So the first 8, as Peter said, going through from the first heat.
And in this race, a new season's best to Sean Tobin of Ireland, but in 5th place at 7:56.27, he misses out. And O'Hare, I must say, looking good at this this distance. May even suit him better than 1,500 metres, which I expect he'll probably try and concentrate on in the summer. And a mixed day for the Ingebrigtsens. Philip disqualified, but Jakob looking superb, and Henrik qualifying with no trouble.
Yes, that heat was just a couple of seconds slower in the middle stages of the race, and in the end that made a difference. They were just a couple of seconds slower at the 2-kilometre mark, and never really, obviously we had the last couple of laps at very high tempo, but never quite clearly made up the gap.
Now in the short, here's Shook. 13:92 to start. And that's over 14. Not much emotion shown on her face, but it's certainly a good performance. On the other hand, of course, her best is over 15, so maybe she'll be a little disappointed. It's a decent performance, but perhaps not too much more in her eyes. Ending with 14:28, 4th best. Preno then. She's going pretty well, 14:32, very close to her season's best. Preno certain to move up in the standings a little bit. Well, that's just over 14, so no better. Her best then being 14:32, which will gain her an extra 815 points. Second heat of the 3,000 metres was won by Chris O'Hare in 7:53.39 from Henrik Ingebrigtsen, Jan Koal and Sam Parsons. They're the qualifiers 4 more men under 8 minutes, but they will miss out when it comes to the final.
13 meters and 93, the first round.
So here are those men who've qualified for the final, 12 of them, headed by Jakob Ingebrigtsen, and all those fastest times there, the first 7 on that list, coming from that first heat. They'll have been delighted by the work that was done at the front. And a little cue also showing that Orth qualified only 8th in that first heat.
So we're in the high jump now. We have 10 men over at 225, 5 in each of the 2 pools, and the referee has decided to raise the bar up to 228. Oh, well, after his first attempt, clearly feels that his qualification, well, he did have a first attempt failure at 225, but he knows he's done enough, I think, to see him forward. Now, the European outdoor champion, Maciej Przybyłko, he's been having problems. You could say he's been having problems all winter. He's only got a best of 226 to his name this winter, having cleared 235 last summer. And with those X's to his name, he does have to attempt, and he's over 228. Well, that's a winter best for him, and he needed it, otherwise he could have been eliminated on failures earlier in the qualifying competition. He's the only man who's actually got over 228. So Selene Ndama, very, very talented French woman, going into the shoppers circle for the 3rd occasion. Oh, that looks as though that could be a very, very big pull. Well, over 14 meters for Ndama.
Yes, indeed, and that's just what she needed, and she's delighted with how way things have gone, because having opened with 1350 odd, which was decent, she's now getting close to a personal best of 1447. Comme ci, comme ça, but 1423. Well, that will take her above Niamh Emerson, possibly even Ikanyetsi as well. We'll get standings in due course. I'll wait to see those come up. Well, the high jump continuing, but that's the shot. Vetter, the best mark of the day at 1540. Kuchinova 1473, and then Prainer, Shuk, Dharma and Krizan all over 14 meters, the last with a season's best. Niamh Emerson, personal best 1393. Katrina Johnson-Thompson, personal best at 1315. So the 2 British pentathletes going very well. Remember, they were 1st and 3rd coming into this final event. Ikanyetsi was in 2nd place, but she may drop back a little bit. In fact, there we are. It's Johnson-Thompson first with 2.989. Ndama 2.871. Emerson 2.864. Vetter's good shot moves her up into 4th at 2.859. Ikanyetsi drops a couple of places to 2.841, and then Dadic a solid 6th at 2.788. And there's the completion of those standings. Not much in it for the placings, but Johnson-Thompson goes into the 4th event with a lead of 118 points.
Well, Chris Baker now, 3rd attempt at 2 meters 28. He's effectively already qualified. He doesn't really need to take this. Only brings the bar down at the 3rd time of asking, but I can tell you that he does go through, because The second group was all wrapped up. If he'd have done his maths, he wouldn't have. He didn't really need to take that. Only one man has actually gone over 2:28. He needed to, Przybylko. He was actually lying outside of the top 8 on failures during the qualifying competition.
Baker must have been clear to do 2:25 today because he had no heighted in his last competition, and this is a return to his form.
Yes, it's a good show there. You can see with the gold bib, Sylvester Bednarak, winner 2 years ago in Belgrade with 2:32. Gianmarco Tamberi in the Azzurri kit of Italy, just wandering over. He's just having a chat with his dad. I saw him in the stands a little bit earlier. That's Marco Tamberi. So there's confirmation of the high jump qualifiers. The only man over 2:28, Maciej Przybylko. Everybody else getting over 2:25, Prosenko, Bednarak, Baker, Tamberi, Vendric, Ivanov and Banioitis. They're the 8 that go through. Also going over 2:25 was Ivanyok of Russia, the authorised neutral athlete, and Bubanek, but they don't go through.
Now then, let's have a look at this pentathlon. There's how they stand, with Johnson Thompson, that 118-point lead over Ndama, who has been the European leader this year, and Emerson, got the personal best to her credit. And then on the right-hand side of the screen is a prediction of how it might end up. That's assuming they compete up to form in the 2 events which we've got to come, which are the long jump, first of all, of course. That's just after 7 o'clock. And Johnson Thompson predicted to win from Ndama. Well, that would be most people's predictions beforehand, as indeed, I think, would be Ivona Dadic, who is projected to move up from 6th to 3rd. Still quite a lot to play for, though. So we're looking forward to the conclusion, of course, of the pentathlon later on this afternoon, when we start again at 7 o'clock our time. So that's in a little over 5 hours' time.
Well, we've had a good morning's entertainment. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've had about 4 hours. We're going to be back this evening. Well, we've got 3 finals to be decided. The men's 3,000 metres, sorry, the women's 3,000 metres with Laura Muir. We have the men's shot put, which should be a fantastic competition, really competitive, and we saw Mesut Preza of Bosnia lead the standings this morning. And of course the concluding 2 events of the women's pentathlon with huge local interest, with Katrina Johnson-Thompson. Can she get close to that 5,000-point barrier? Well, please do come back and join us a little bit later on. The session starts at 7 o'clock this evening, local time in Glasgow. See you then.